If you've ever barely missed two boosted parlays on Monday Night Football, God, I was so close to winning both of them. One of them got dropped, literally got dropped by Ibuka. But nonetheless, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, because we're back. And today kicks off the FOMC meeting. Of course, the result of that is going to be tomorrow. We have some stuff to break down here first. Is CoreWeave going down? We're going to take a look at that. We're going to talk about it. Of course, we're going to break down the movers. We're going to roll through all of the other news and get you all set for the market here today. It's a T3 Tuesday, so get excited for that. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Tuesday edition for September 16th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Tell you what, it's great to see that our video assets are actually playing today, so I don't have to just do a cold open and sit there staring at the camera like a dummy. Awesome that it's working. Thank you, Restream, for getting at least basic functionality restored. Brian is first today. Good morning, Brian. I'm trying to see anything other than a sell the news event. Cuts have been getting priced in since they opened the door for one. Valuations are crazy. When will there be a better time to lock profits in? This, I do think, is the $64,000 question. We did spend a lot of time on that, discussing it at happy hour. We've talked about it here as well. I do think sell the news event is coming here. We'll see. We'll see what we get. Brian, the only thing that I can really advise, have a plan for both, because these meetings are often volatile and you can get trades in both directions. So that's really, at this point, that's really the only advice, if you will, that I have. But good morning. Congratulations on being first. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, it's great to see you as well. Welcome back. Brent, good morning. Jay Grant, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Good to see you. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good as always, my man. Thanks for stopping in. Chuck and Peter, good to see both of you again. Welcome back. Good morning. Cam, good morning. Producers locked in, already helping me out here. Don't know where we'd be without our wonderful producers here. Thank you for all you do. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. Big Bees, good morning. As always, Graf, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Gary and Neville, welcome back. Judge, good to see you again. Day Trader, it's great to see you as always. Joseph, good morning. Jeff, good morning. ATL Russ, rock on, man, locked in. Jane, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Good to see you again, Ryan. Let me know if you see a setup in G Pro. Whis, good morning. Ed, good morning. Solitary soldier defined by one. Good morning. He's yelling good morning. He's excited. He's got his coffee. Good morning. Catherine, it's great to see you again. Welcome back. Harley, welcome back. Kevin, welcome back. Sergeant Sexy is, of course, always watching Wazowski. What movie is that from again? I can't remember, but I'm glad you're here and it's good to see you again. Edwin, it's great to see you. Good morning. Zabeth, welcome back. Tom, welcome back. Oh yeah, that's right, Tom. Good call. We also have Anne-Marie today. In fact, I need to send her the link, even though that's a couple of hours away. Might as well be as prepared as possible. Where's Miss Anne-Marie? There's her link. We will be having Anne-Marie today. So get your trades ready for some option trades as well. JJ, it's great to see you again, as always. Ed Rowe, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Empyrean, you are awesome. Good morning. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Golfing here in Iowa. What course? How is it? And how are you shooting? Thanks for joining us from the golf course. That's impressive. Zoo, good morning. Kel, good morning. And Knowledge Drop, good morning. Knowledge Drop saying, let's get the cheddar. I completely agree. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's get started here with the stock market today. All right, futures this morning pointing to somewhat of a mixed open. S&P futures up about 1/10 here today, but still getting set to open at all-time highs. Dow futures here down 0.04%, basically unchanged, but a little bit softer. And the NASDAQ still up 0.17%, although that is off its morning highs as well. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. On Monday, the market saw a mixed performance across sectors with communication services leading the gains. Other notable winners included consumer discretionary and information technology. On the on the losing side, consumer staples was the biggest laggard, falling 1.15%. That was followed by healthcare, which dropped just over a percent at 1.01%. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 indices closed at record highs on Monday. And as mentioned here with the SPY, we're getting ready to open up at another record high. On the economic front, the Empire State Manufacturing Survey showed a modest decline in New York State business activity for September. The index fell 21 points into negative territory at minus 8.7, driven by sharp decreases in new orders and shipments, while the 6-month outlook remains subdued. In stock-specific news, CoreWeave, ticker CRWV, shares ended up 7.6% after the company announced a new $6.3 billion agreement with NVIDIA, under which NVIDIA will purchase unused cloud capacity. Meanwhile, Robo AI, microcap ticker AIIO, shares rose 3.42% after signing a joint venture agreement to establish a Robo AI industrial city in Dubai. In a major setback for President Trump, a U.S. appeals court for the District of Columbia denied an emergency motion to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, allowing her to participate, in this week's Federal Open Market Committee meeting. In a 2-1 decision, judges Brad Garcia and Michelle Childs issued a concurring opinion saying that Cook was likely denied her constitutional rights when removed without an opportunity to respond to the allegations against her. Investors are eyeing the FOMC, which begins its 2-day meeting today, and the decision on rate cuts will be announced on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.03%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.53%. All right, let's go back to Benzinga Pro and let's take a look at the SPY chart here. Not a whole lot to cover because we're basically in the same territory we've been in. Market is doing a lot of the same things it has been doing here. We slowly drift higher here. And as mentioned, we are set to open at a new all-time high. If we go take a look at yesterday, the high print here, 661.04. We're currently at 661.61. So we'll see if we do open at that new high or if we set it right here after the open. Of course, we're still waiting for the 20-day moving average here. That value is down at 647.81. The meeting tomorrow, or the decision on rate cuts, that's really going to tell the story for the week. We opened up here by talking about a potential sell the news, as this rate cut is likely getting priced in. Some have even argued that it's been overpriced in, if you will. In other words, they're perhaps pricing in a 50 bips cut. And if we see 25, perhaps there will be some disappointment. Nonetheless, the slow grind higher here and where we've seen the market just hanging out near all-time highs really does kind of set up for a potential sell the news event after we get the anticipated rate cut. We'll see how the market actually responds to this and what it does. And as mentioned to one of our viewers right here at the open, I think the best course of action here is to try and come up with a plan to trade either. If you want to be active for this, try to come up with a plan to play either, as opposed to positioning ahead of the print and hoping that you're right. Just seems like you might have a higher chance of executing a successful trade going that way. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts ahead of that meeting. The BlackRock Investment Institute is maintaining a risk-on investment stance, remaining overweight in U.S. equities despite acknowledging that core inflation is proving sticky. The firm cited a softening labor market, which is expected to give Federal Reserve justification to resuming cutting interest rates this week, and the powerful artificial intelligence theme as key drivers for its positive outlook. BlackRock's base case scenario hinges on the cooling jobs market, as the firm believes the Fed's monetary easing will bolster equities even as economic growth slows. Quote, a softening labor market gives the Fed space to cut, helping ease brewing political tensions from higher interest rates. That was from the weekly commentary. This environment, characterized by slowing activity without a recession, is seen as a supportive backdrop for U.S. stocks, which have already surged to new all-time highs several times. Frankly, the AI theme remains a primary pillar of BlackRock's strategy, continuing to fuel U.S. equity performance and corporate earnings. I don't think anybody is surprised that AI is this huge theme. that's really kind of powering all of this. I think what a lot of you folks are doing are thinking, well, hey, what if this isn't so great? Or what if we don't see results? Or what if we don't see a lot of these efficiencies that are being promised? Maybe we'll have a pullback, or maybe we'll have a readjustment of that AI phase. We'll see how that all shakes out. Certainly, so far, I haven't seen many signs of that. The report highlights the tech sector is responsible for over 40% of the S&P 500's total returns and a similar share of its earnings growth. BlackRock asserts that, quote, the AI theme keeps providing near-term earnings support and could drive productivity in the long term, end quote. Really quickly there, just about the 40%, the tech being responsible for 40% of the S&P. This is largely why a lot of market participants on this show and other shows, frankly, are saying we would love to see a little bit of diversification and maybe less concentration in some of these names. Let that money, instead of running to the sidelines, instead rotate into some other categories or some other sectors so we can find some gains there. Meanwhile, a McKinsey report titled Scaling Bigger, Faster, Cheaper Data Centers with Smarter Designs provided the foundation for bullish AI data center capacity projections. It showed that total data center capacity demand, including non-AI workloads, was likely to grow from 82 gigawatts in 2025 to 219 gigawatts by 2030. Overall, McKinsey anticipates the capital spending on data center infrastructure, excluding the IT hardware itself, will surpass 1.7 trillion by 2030. So this is really just kind of saying that this is a full go for anything that's connected to data centers. I definitely like to know what your favorite data center play is, whether directly or indirectly. Sometimes the thing behind the thing for these types of themes can really be the right play, but whatever it is, I would like to hear what your favorite play is. Whereas only considering the AI workloads, the capacity is expected to expand from 44 gigawatts, to 156 from 2025 to 2030. This expansion is overwhelmingly driven by the proliferation of artificial intelligence, which is expected to account for 70% of the total data center capacity by 2030, no doubt. Just another reminder here about some upcoming economic events. We talked about it yesterday, but it's good to have this reminder again here today. August retail sales and import price index data will be announced by 8:30 a.m. today, Tuesday. August's industrials production and capacity utilization numbers will be out by 9:15, and July's business inventories and September's home builder confidence index will be released by 10. So we do have some smaller economic prints. I think all of those pale in comparison to the Fed meeting that starts today that we're all kind of waiting for tomorrow. I think that's fairly clear there. All right, let's talk a little bit about NVIDIA, then we'll go ahead and take a look at the chart here. A new analysis by McKinsey and Company projects a massive 3.5-fold increase in the global demand for AI-specific data center capacity by 2030. That's what we just talked about, potentially creating a multi-trillion-dollar market opportunity for chipmaker NVIDIA, as if it hasn't had enough opportunity already. The report forecasts that the power demand for AI workloads will surge from 44 gigawatts to 156 gigawatts, as we just discussed. It shows the total data center capacity is going to be 82 to 219, another huge move higher there. Let me just skip down here. The explosive growth is at the heart of a comment by NVIDIA CEO and co-founder Jensen Huang's comments from March to CNBC, where he said, quote, every gigawatt of data center is about 40 billion to 50 billion to NVIDIA. According to the calculations based on Jensen math, a social media post on X, the AI investor translates the gigawatt demand into a staggering $6.2 trillion market cap opportunity for NVIDIA. This figure comes from multiplying the 156 gigawatt capacity by 2030 with the $40 billion figure stated by Huang. Even if the estimate is twice as high as reality, the post notes that the opportunity would still stand at a formidable 3.1 trillion. So some napkin math there, really kind of bringing it home about how big this theme actually is going to be. For any of you that want to go through the actual napkin math itself or the series of charts that's in that thread, the link to this story here is in the chat. A lot of good infographics there for anyone that's interested. I know AI and data centers really kind of been the biggest theme that we've been talking about as a group, both here and in Happy Hour. However, the report cautions that this rapid expansion faces significant hurdles. Key challenges include securing adequate power for the energy-hungry facilities, overcoming supply chain bottlenecks for critical equipment, and navigating shortage of skilled labor required for construction. The central question as posed by the AI investor is whether the market is too bearish on NVIDIA's future, given that the underlying demand for AI infrastructure appears to be vastly outpacing its current expectations. So I guess I'll just turn that on the group here. Does anyone think that folks are too bearish on NVIDIA and its potential opportunity? That might be the first time I've heard that. Here's a look at NVIDIA's chart. Although we have pulled back recently to that 50, we actually recaptured it in some pretty short order. We're trading sideways now. I think the longer that we trade sideways and hold above the 20-day and the 50-day, which is where we currently find ourselves, the higher the chances that we break some of these all-time highs. I've got this right up here about 184. I actually think that the high print is right here. 184.47, I believe, is your actual, 184.48. Boy, we were off by a penny. So we actually have two highs made here, 1 penny apart on NVIDIA. Let me know if you guys think the next move here is a break to new all-time highs on NVIDIA. Perhaps after the rate decision tomorrow, or if we pull back, give up some of these moving averages. We also have a little gap that fills down here at 170. And then beneath that, probably have our next support down here, 163, 165, and 155 is the 100-day beneath that. So definitely some room here based on the chart for NVIDIA to move to the downside. Really, the key question is, will it, right? Will it actually move to the downside? I'm just not sure. Okay. Nathan wants to talk about APLD. I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday in happy hour. I'll add that to the list. We can kind of recap that here, but this is what the chart looks like on NVIDIA. Are any of you trading NVIDIA like for like a short-term trade, maybe around the FOMC meeting, maybe even going into it, maybe preloading the FOMC meeting? Just curious here. NVIDIA, no trades planned for this one, but I am not sure that the highs here are in for the year. My gut tells me otherwise, frankly. All right, next stock that I want to talk about here is CoreWeave. I know a lot of you folks trade it. Really big, huge shout out to Bharat, who's been trading a lot of these tech stocks here right around the open. I think he's hit CoreWeave several times in the past couple of weeks, which is great. Here's a look at your CoreWeave daily chart. The one thing that jumps off the page here is obviously going to be this trend line, which we are coming up to test here. It's also worth noting that we recently crossed this 119.50 area. This was clearly a resistance area as well. We peaked above it, really couldn't get above it, and then finally, several days later, we did break and close above it. Will this be short-lived? Will we attack that trend line here today? Stay tuned to find out. CoreWeave likely going to be in play here today. Now, if we want to talk about some of the news that's going on here, here's your headline. CoreWeave is a debt-fueled GPU rental business. That comes from Kerrisdale Capital, shorting CoreWeave amid criticisms of valuation boosting circle jerk with NVIDIA. Did not have that on my bingo card for things I was going to say here today, but the market continues to surprise. So, Lion, are you here yet today? I can't remember. Yes, Lion, you said good morning. Good morning to you. You asked me in the past, hey, let me know if there are any short reports that come out there. Well, Lion, here you go. You have a short report from Kerrisdale Capital on CoreWeave. Kerrisdale Capital has revealed a short position against CoreWeave, labeling the AI infrastructure firm a, quote, debt-fueled GPL rental business with no GPU. I don't know why I keep doing that. GPU rental business with no moat, end quote, and setting a price target that implies a 90% downside from its current valuation. 90% downside. I guess let's just start right here. Do any of you think that CoreWeave actually has a 90% downside? I'd be curious if any of you are looking at that. The short selling firm calls CoreWeave, quote, the poster child of the AI infrastructure bubble. There's been several of you that have talked about really kind of AI being in a bubble. A lot of comparisons back to the internet boom right around 2000. So let me know, does this hit with you? What do you think about this? The report asserts that CoreWeave lacks any proprietary technology or defensible IP, making its services, quote, interchangeable, end quote, with competitors. CoreWeave fails the most basic finance test. It generates returns below its cost of capital, destroying rather than creating shareholder value. That, again, comes directly from the Kerrisdale report there. Kerrisdale sees the company's fair value at about $10 per share. Big B says, hot damn, Lion has nothing to say except for smiling faces, which is very typical of Lion here. Lion, we don't have a huge pullback here yet, so I'm curious as to how you're going to sort through this, but wild stuff there. Nasir says it's more like 90% upside. Cam agrees with them. Brian here says not 90%, but that debt is serious, and if they keep doing and all they keep doing is expanding the capital there. Nasir goes on to say CoreWeave has power contracts, and that is going to be key. This is awesome. I love that you folks, that there's a pretty clear division here for CoreWeave. To me, when it comes to any stock, whether it's CoreWeave, NVIDIA, Apple, or otherwise, frankly, this is the type of stuff that makes a market. And this is the type of things where when you get one of these right, when you're on the right side of this, there's a lot of money to be made here. So first of all, anyone that responded to me and shared their opinion here, thank you. I think the group can benefit from that in a lot of cases. Anyway, let me get back to the story here. The activist report lands amid growing criticisms of the company's close ties with investor and partner NVIDIA, which one AI pundit, Tony Nash, the CEO and founder of AI strategy firm Complete Intelligence, described as a potential, quote, circle jerk of companies buying from each other at inflated prices to push up each other's valuations. So let me just kind of fold this into my first question here. Do you think that's what's happening here? Companies are just buying from each other at inflated prices, wash, rinse, repeat, drive the valuations higher on all of that? Let me know if you think that's what's going on here. At the heart of the criticism is CoreWeave's unusually close partnership with NVIDIA, which serves simultaneously as an investor, its sole GPU supplier, and a major customer. This, quote, round trip arrangement, end quote, made NVIDIA CoreWeave's second largest customer in 2023, accounting for 15% of total revenue. Just monster numbers here. Kerrisdale highlights what it calls a fragile financial model reliant on expensive asset-backed debt with higher interest rates as high as 11 to 15%. The firm projects CoreWeave will burn through $19 billion in cash in 2025 alone and faces dangerous exposure from extreme customer concentration, with Microsoft accounting for 70% of its revenue. According to Kerrisdale, major customers view CoreWeave as a stopgap, not a strategic partner. The report claims to mask weak economics. CoreWeave presented an illustrative contract to analysts based on what former engineer called a utopian assumptions. So, look, I think there's definitely going to be some pullbacks and some volatility in some of these AI names. One of the things that I've been saying as far as trading goes here is that it's really not a good idea right now to fight the trend. This is one of the reasons why I continually talk about confirming bottoms or tops if you're going to play to the downside here, maybe leaving a little bit on the table just to make sure that you actually get the right trend in the right direction as opposed to trying to fight that. Tell you what, based on what Kerrisdale is saying here, seems like there is a lot of room to the downside here. This could be a potentially great short. Tell you what, I just don't know if we're going to get it. Now, again, going back to the chart here, we are at kind of a key spot here, aren't we? We're butting up against this trend line, which has really been intact since June of this year. We tested it one time in August, came back in, set lower lows. This is what Anne-Marie talks about when she's looking at setting up all of those trades. Maybe we'll ask Anne-Marie today about CoreWeave. Maybe that might be a good one to set some options on here. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up going here today. All right. Next here is actually going to be Rocket Lab. We'll start here with the chart. It's going to be ticker RKLB. So here's Rocket Lab. This has actually been a great theme for our group. Absolutely fantastic call. There's been a lot of stocks that have moved in this group. Looking at the stock here for Rocket Lab, clear double top on the daily chart, actually down 3.6% here in the pre-market. Rocket Lab shares are trading lower after the company disclosed it may offer and sell up to $750 million in common stock from time to time. Let's take a look at this here real quick. Rocket Lab, again, trading lower on that. It announced it entered into a sales agreement with multiple sales agents under which the end-to-end space company may offer and sell up to $750 million of its common stock from time to time. Rocket Lab entered into a similar agreement in March, allowing the company to sell up to $500 million of its common stock. The company said it offered and sold $396.6 million and now plans to terminate the prior agreement. Rocket Lab said last month it had approximately $564.08 million in cash and cash equivalents as of June 30th. So let me know what you think here on Rocket Lab for a trade. Is this something that we might want to trade to the downside? Do you have targets on this? I think the last time we discussed this, we said a pullback to 40 might be the next move here. Now that we've set new all-time highs and maybe pulled back from that, does it look like a double top? Does it look like we have a potential resolution down to that $41 level, 41? Again, as a reminder here, short interest on this name, rather high, not like some of the movers that we take a look at, but still significant. 14.15% of the float shorted. That's as of the last read here, which was effective on September 10th. Still has 2.64 days to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 22.7 million. So this stock trades a ton every day. And still has a substantial amount of short interest. Let me know if you like this here for a potential short, or if you have any type of trade plan here in Rocket. Maybe we get a little bit of squeeze action if it goes the other direction. In any case, let me know what you think here on Rocket Lab. It's been a great trader for us so far in 2025, and I look to finish that here to finish the year out. We'll look to go back to a lot of these different space plays. Channel Guy Trader says, okay, next, like stocks going up right now, LOL. Yo, if you don't like it, there's a little X in the upper right corner. You can just click that and all of your problems go away, boss. So no problem there. Let's take a look at Oracle here. Oracle will reshape industries and change the world. Gene Munster on what OpenAI, on what the OpenAI deal means. A surge at Oracle's stock price briefly cemented co-founder's chief technology officer, Larry Ellison, as the richest person in the world. While the title was short-lived, Munster, a managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management, says Oracle's $300 billion contract with OpenAI cements the company's position as an AI hyperscaler. Oracle's been a great trade here. This has kind of been one of the stocks that our group has taken kind of a longer-term approach with, and that's really been the way to go here with Oracle. I'm not sure this is one of the shorter trades to actually go after. This is one that's really been better, kind of holding for longer time frames. Obviously, huge move here after its most recent earnings report. Quote, the deal underscores just how early we were in AI and how massive the infrastructure layer will prove to be. That foundation will power AI native companies, which in turn will reshape industries and then change the world. Munster said Oracle is no longer just a tech stock benefiting from cloud growth, and that OpenAI contract makes the company a key AI infrastructure player. This is absolutely the common theme that we've talked about on Happy Hour. This is why Oracle is so loved by a lot of these. This definitely going to be one of the key AI players here going forward. AI growth is still early here. Munster said the new Oracle OpenAI tie-up shows that AI infrastructure could still be in the early phases. After June's earnings, I revised that my view were in the second inning. I'm now debating if we're even in the first inning. That came from Munster regarding that AI build-out. Munster said it's likely that the AI build-out should have increased growth rates, quote, for the next few years, end quote. The size of Oracle's backlog highlights that AI demand is stretching beyond available supply and mind-blowing levels. The investor said expectations continue to increase for AI investment, which means companies that are AI hyperscalers could see increased backlog and guidance. So going back to Pro here and taking a look at the Oracle chart, been great for those of you that are still in it. been great for those of you that have traded it here. I know we had a potential setup for a floating island trade. There was a pretty substantial pullback here. Again, shout out to our community here. I believe it was Barat. I think there were several other folks that took a look at an Oracle short. Boy, that paid at least for 2 days here. But the question now is, has it pulled back enough here? And although we're up 4.5% here, Oracle shares are trading higher, possibly amid TikTok deal speculation. I don't have any thought on whether or not that's the case, but just kind of looking at the chart here, we did pop to the bottom end of this range. I don't think this is as guaranteed to maybe move to the high end of the range, but at a minimum here, it's worth watching. See if Oracle gets a little carry through here today after maybe some short-term seller exhaustion here. All right, we're still waiting for Derrick Oldensmith from T3. So we're going to talk about another story here. This one, not sure where I sit on this. President Trump plans to scrap the quarterly earnings reporting requirement for public companies. That has sparked a sharp debate among market commentators, with opinions split on whether the move would strengthen or weaken U.S. equity markets. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily, I don't have a fully fledged opinion on this. I go back and forth. I can see the arguments for both sides of this. But where I sit right now, not totally sure. Not totally sure on whether or not this is good. Analyst Joseph Carlson dismissed the argument that quarterly reports drive short-term thinking. Quote, the idea that reporting numbers on a quarterly basis makes the company short-term focused is nonsense, end quote. He pointed to U.S. companies making record long-term investments in AI infrastructure and cited Costco, which reports monthly sales but still operates with long-term focus. He warned that the real risk is diminished transparency. This is kind of how I feel here. To me, it seems that as an investor and a trader, more information is better, right? More information, more better, for lack of a better term here. And so I'm not sure that moving to just every 6 months or 2 reports per year, I don't actually think that helps. That's kind of my feeling on the surface there. Carlson cautioned that eliminating quarterly earnings could leave investors more opaque, less updated, and facing worse pricing for stocks. He added that without timely reporting, companies could be struggling for 5 months before investors have any idea that they're struggling. Transparency is a good thing, he goes on to say, and I do agree with that. Now, on the other side here, other experts and analysts, however, have come out in support of Trump's plans, with market strategist Tom Lee saying, quote, a 90-day cycle is not how business operates. This is why so many companies are staying private, end quote. And actually, the part about companies staying private there, that's legitimate. There are a number of companies that we have traded that at the end of the day, the reality is this should not really be a public company. It should still be a private company. Maybe at some point in the future when some other things change, should be, but it's kind of seen this too. He said moving away from the current cadence would ease public market pressure. That I don't know about, but that's Tom Lee's opinion. Similarly, economist Trin Nguyen expressed her support for the move, noting that several developed markets already operate without quarterly mandates. Quote, should the U.S. drop quarterly earnings? Well, the UK doesn't require it, and neither does the EU, end quote. Pointing out that even influential figures like BlackRock CEO Larry Fink and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have also favored this idea. Quote, if one of the reforms people think will reduce a short-termism is that it's rather bipartisan. So let me know what you think on this. I kind of go back and forth on this. To me, I think where I land on this, more information, more better. More information, more better. Give me more information. Let me make the decision on the stock. Let me make the decision on the investment. And then we'll go from there. I'm not sure that companies are hindered from having to report. But we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out. Would love to get some opinions from the group here. But as mentioned, it's Tuesday. It's a T3 Tuesday, and it is time to bring on Derrick Oldensmith again. Let's go ahead and say good morning to Derrick. Derrick, good morning. How you doing? Let me just start off there. I think that you heard me finish up there. What do you think about quarterly reporting? Should they change that? Yes or no?
Sure. So I actually agree with the concept. I agree with the concept that the quarterly reporting creates too much of a short-term focus for these companies, and especially when you think about the way executives are compensated. Executives are compensated through stock these days primarily, so they're
Hmm.
incentivized to get that stock higher as soon as possible. And if you are making investment decisions as a CEO that could positively impact the company 10 years from now, you're probably not going to be there 10 years from now. And a lot of times that extra spending or whatever will cause a short-term pullback in the stock because, well, you're spending money for the
Sure.
future. But if you just instead of investing in R&D, decide to buy back your own stock, you as the CEO, you're probably going to make more money more quickly. And that's
Hmm.
what these companies are incentivized to do. But I don't know that 6 months, going from a quarter to 6 months, provides any real solution to that. Then you're just going, are you still going to make decisions for 5 years out when now you're just reporting every, twice a year instead of 4 times a year? So I kind of agree with the concept, but I don't know what the appropriate solution is. And as a trader, I don't really want it to happen at all because I like quarterly reports that give me volatility, that give me trading
Sure.
opportunities. So selfishly, I hope it doesn't happen.
Okay, no, that's fair. And look, I guess I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't necessarily have a strong feeling one way or another. To me, like I was just saying here before I brought you on, more information, more better. Give that to me. Let me make those decisions. But okay, really good stuff. Derrick, I do want to start off here with Palantir. This is one of the stocks that we discussed last time, the last time that you joined us. Palantir here had a neutral position here. The earnings gap wouldn't be a problem. Had a short position, hedged with options. Thought Palantir report was phenomenal. Said that he would short it if it fell back through 170. Look where we are here. We're at 170. We had actually come into this 50-day moving average, really did a good job riding that. But here we are at 170. So what's the updated plan for Palantir, ticker PLTR?
Sure. So the adjustment since we spoke was when you got that like 4 day parabolic move immediately after the earnings report. And again, that earnings report was phenomenal, but I don't think it justified that move. I started shorting heavily into that. And then we really got the signal on like the 13th with the follow through on the 14th that this thing was starting to pull back. Caught that pullback all the way down to almost 140 really, really well. It turned into being a really good trade. And then the stock has stayed relatively weak. So to take a half step back, I take a top-down approach to markets. I always start at the index level before I look at individual stocks. And I got to be honest, and it's something I'm happy to talk about. I'm very bearish right now in the short run for the indexes, and I'm looking to short either one. I'm looking to short basically. There's two sets of stocks in my mind that I have an interest in shorting.
Mhm.
One is anything that's showing relative weakness, and one is anything that's showing actually more extreme upside extension. It's kind of gone too far too fast. And believe it or not, I would actually put Palantir and also NVIDIA in a category of names that is showing some degree of relative weakness right now. When you look at the Qs, when you look at the
Sure.
SPYs, all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs, and these names are staying a little bit heavier. Obviously, they pushed up a little bit with the market, but they're not breaking out to all-time highs. They're not really overly participating. I think if the market pulls back, these names are ripe for a bigger sell-off. The confirmation on Palantir comes if it gets back below 163 to 164, but I'm going to try to front run that a little bit. So I am already short some Palantir here. I added
Okay.
back, I had covered a lot into the down move. I've added back into the bounce back, and that circles back to my thought process that I'm pretty short-term bearish as we get into the second half of September and really as we get through this week.
Okay. Real quickly here, one of our viewers, Big B, is asking, does Oracle fit that basket too?
Um, Oracle doesn't. It's relatively strong, but it's not really that extended anymore after the couple day pullback that it had
Okay.
from the earnings report. I had actually shorted Oracle on the earnings day above 340. It was a pretty good trade, but that was just a day trade. I was in and out. I didn't capture the rest of the move. That Oracle earnings guidance was phenomenal, and it's why it
Yeah.
gapped up really big. But then people started to realize that it was all based on this OpenAI contract, and who knows if that actually happens over time. But Oracle is not really one that's on my focus list. I'm interested in shorting like the Palantirs and NVIDIAs, which I view as kind of relatively weak, And I'm interested in viewing some of these other names that have just in shorting, and I already have started to short them for disclosure purposes. Some of these ones that have gotten really, really extended up. If you think about SanDisk, or you think about WDC, or you think about NDK, Seagate, STX, Seagate.
STX, yep.
Those names have gone on such a run here in September. We like to joke around that what is SanDisk? It's like a floppy disk company. What do they even do? That's a little bit of a joke. Obviously, this company's improved and some of this move higher is justified. But when I'm looking at, WDC, this has never been a momentum stock. It's more of a grind stock that has now just ripped this month from a low of 77.50 to pre-market high of 105 this morning. There's just extreme extension in these names right as we're getting into a spot where I think that this market is going to be giving us a pretty big pullback.
Okay. First of all, this is a perfect mention here. You just gave me 3 charts that are absolutely going parabolic. Really, any short, if this materializes, if any move to the downside materializes, those shorts are going to pay handsomely. But you did a wonderful job there of giving me a perfectly clean segue into the market, because this is the other thing that I wanted to ask you. The last time that we were on, you weren't terribly bullish. And in fact, I was in the exact same camp as you. A lot of our peers out there were talking about this really terrible seasonality for September, and even perhaps the end of August there. We haven't seen that yet. So I guess the first question here is, have you thrown all of that out? Are you still thinking about that? Might there be a little bit of a delay? Might we still get that seasonal move, but on a little bit of a delayed basis? What are your thoughts here about the bucking of the poor seasonality that we've talked about for September?
Sure. So I'll give you some statistical information. If you go back to, I think, 1995, in the month of September specifically, there have been four previous instances of a Fed cut in September that is not in conjunction with a recession. So basically a non-recessionary Fed cut in the month of September. Every single time that's happened, we've had a positive September. What are we set to have this September? We're not in a recession, and we're set to have a Fed cut. So that actually stays in line with the previous trend of September being actually positive for non-recessionary cuts. The second part of that, though, is the major part of the seasonal weakness for September comes in the second half of the month historically. The last 2 weeks of September are traditionally the weakest 2 months of the year. Now, the market has been really strong in the first half of September, where it tends to be a little bit stronger anyway, because the market's been front running the Fed cuts.
Right.
It's just a matter of how many we're getting at this point, right? So I think that what we have been seeing since the end of last week and through the beginning of this week is a classic buy the rumor, sell the news situation when it comes to the Fed tomorrow. When it comes to the Fed tomorrow, you're either going to get one of, I think, 2 things that happens. You get a 25 basis point cut coupled with dovish language from Jerome Powell, or you get a 25 basis point cut coupled with more hawkish language from Jerome Powell. I think that the market at this point has fully priced in a 25 basis point cut with dovish language from Jerome Powell. So in other words, if you get that, I don't think we really continue at this point, and you could see some selling. Maybe you see like one of those quick pop situations that doesn't actually give any follow through and sells off either by the end of the day or the next day. If you were to get more neutral or hawkish language from Jerome Powell cut with that 25 basis point cut, then I think that actually really, really sinks this market down. And when you couple that with the fact that systematic positioning, if you look at like vol control systematic funds and trend following systematic funds, they're at like the 95 to 99% in terms of long exposure over the course of a 3-year look back. I was just looking at a statistic today that I'm able to get on my team, where if today we were to go down 1%, which I don't think is going to happen, but if today we were to go down 1%, then you would be met with an additional $18.5 billion of forced selling from systematic funds. We are in an environment right now where if we can go down, the go down will feed on itself from forced selling from various parts of the market community. So that then circles back to the Fed tomorrow. If you get something that can trigger any degree of downside in excess of 1%, I think that selling really begins to feed on itself, and you don't want to be covering your short positions as soon as we're 1.5% down, which has made sense for every little blip lower that we've had since we bottomed in April. All of a sudden, this sell-off can be very, very different if you begin to have a knockoff effect of triggering other forced selling on the way down, which seems like it's all sitting kind of right beneath the surface if you can never actually trigger the levels.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're kind of making the case here for a potential sell the news event. This is something that we've been talking about quite a bit on this show. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Anne-Marie, looks like you agree with that. I think that also, buy the rumors, sell the news. Shout out to our entire group. We have been on top of this for some time now. So really good stuff. Folks, trade with Derrick all next week for free in his ProDesk virtual trading floor. That is September 22nd through September 26th. QR code is on the screen. Producer threw the link in the chat. If you like anything that Derrick has said here so far, please check that out. Really good stuff here. Okay, Derrick, just kind of continuing here. One of the other things that we had talked about last time was tariff impact being offset by the AI story. So where are you with this? Are there any other plays to take off this? New plays, adjustments to old plays? What do you think is going on here?
I think it continues to be the exact same story as it has been, but the difference now is that the AI trade, I think, is almost at full capacity. Everyone already owns it, and that's why you've actually started to see some of that weakness in the NVIDIAs and the Palantirs. And instead, what you're getting is a new rotation into these long duration stocks, IWM stocks, like OKLO, IREN. All those names are what has taken the baton to push the market higher because they're forward-looking on the interest rate cuts. So, it's still the tariffs versus the AI, but I don't think that there's much left to buy on AI in the short run. And that's the biggest headache I think that the Fed is having to deal with is what we're seeing occur right now in a small way is inflation's moderately increasing while growth is slowing. And my biggest concern is if the Fed cuts too hard, too fast, we've upticked to 3.1% core inflation per that last CPI. I don't think that's necessarily the end of the world, but interest rate cuts, while they help with the growth and the employment deterioration, they also help to increase inflation. If you cut too far, too fast, we could very quickly be seeing inflation back at 5% in 2026.
And
so,
of course,
we'll see how that plays out, but I'm certainly watching that story. It's been a very slow bleed though into the economy and into stocks.
No question. And I think one of the big market fears there, if we do have a re-rise in inflation, that inflation becoming entrenched means that's bad news for all of us. And it's definitely something the market is looking at. I'm not sure if we're going to get that, but a really good breakdown there. Okay. Derrick, I hope you're ready here because it's time for some flowers. It's time for some flowers for our boy Derrick. Last time you were with us, you told us live that you took a short here on Joby. That was August 5th, by the way. Here's August 5th. You might have literally top ticked this here with your short. So first of all, congratulations. Thank you for giving this to our group live. You had a really good breakdown on it. As customary, you get a register ring for booking those gains. What do you think here about Joby? Is there more to this? Might there be another trade? Anything that you can talk to about your Joby trade here?
My target on the trade was 14. I got out of it into 14. I followed my game plan precisely. It was honestly a phenomenal trade for me and really helped boost my P&L for the month of August. I had a lot of size on it. I no longer have a position in it as it's still trading around that target, but I'm watching it very closely. They keep trying to tick this thing back up on positive news and then hit it right back down. So I can't get the type of upside extension move that I would want to see to be able to reshort it. You could, I still think that the stock belongs lower, whatever that means. But that doesn't necessarily mean you just, blindly short things, especially these types of long duration squeezy stocks. If you see some support levels break at, $13, $14, you could try to hammer this short for a further move down to like $11 or so, I think, maybe even 10. It's probably not going to be a trade that I'm involved in. I'm probably taking my money and going home.
Okay. It looks like the easy money has been made here. Once again, this is the type of stuff that we look for here on the show all of the time. That could not have been more actionable. Your breakdown the last time that we were here. Folks, if you took that Joby trade. First of all, round of applause, but also trade with Derrick all next week for free in the virtual in the ProDesk virtual trading floor. That is September 22nd through September 26th. Okay, really good stuff here, Derrick. What else? Do you have anything else new on your radar? Maybe we haven't discussed, things you're looking for here today?
So I'm expecting a quieter day today. It's the day in front of the Fed. The straddle's pricing in a very, very small movement from the market. I'm expecting us to be choppy and sideways. Maybe we see some dispersion under the surface. I think a big part about trading is knowing when to trade aggressively and knowing when to take a step back. Today's a day to step back a little bit. Let's wait for the Fed. Let's see what happens. That's the main event at this point. So I'm not doing too much for today. Bigger picture, I kind of gave you the names already. I'm looking at either stocks. So I'm looking for the market to pull back with the Fed, buy the rumor, sell the news.
Sure.
What I'm looking to short off that are names that are either relatively weak or names that are upside extended. So relative weak list is Palantir, it's NVIDIA. Extension list is WDC, STX, maybe Google a little bit, though I kind of like the story behind Google. SanDisk, those are the ones I'm really looking at on the extension side. Maybe Micron.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think about Micron for a possible extension?
It's the same chart. It's just not one that I've executed yet. It looks
Gotcha.
to me very similar as STX, WDC, SanDisk, Micron. That's all that kind of same category of names that have just blasted off in September and have more extension in these stocks than I've almost ever seen. That they just tend to not be big momentum names, So we'll see.
Okay, really good stuff here, folks. Lots of actionable ideas. Derrick, you do a great job every time that you're here with us. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to help us prepare here. Trade with Derrick all next week for free in his ProDesk virtual trading floor, September 22nd through the 26th. QR codes on the screen, links in the chat. Derrick, really good stuff. Good luck here. Can't wait to catch up with you next time, okay?
Thanks, Ryan. See you next time.
You got it. That is Derrick Oldensmith from T3. Folks, if you were here on August 5th and you listened to Derrick and you went after that Joby, you're probably still sitting pretty from when that took place. We'll keep bringing these guys back. Absolute aces over there at T3. Please check this stuff out if you want some more help there. It is Derrick Oldensmith. Really, really good stuff. Let me just kind of follow up to the group here. He just gave us this is something that we've actually been talking about unrelated to Derrick in our happy hour group about some of these stocks that just look like they have gone parabolic to the upside. We actually discussed in happy hour Micron, Western Digital, and Seagate. He also gave us SanDisk here. I love seeing some of the comments here about SanDisk. This brought me back to my high school years when I was still building computers and buying SanDisk components from CompUSA. Long story. Nonetheless, though, are any of you folks taking any of these short trades on some of these extremely extended charts? These, to me, with the Sell the News event that we've kind of been talking, first of all, it's great to hear that there are more people thinking that our Sell the News thesis here might be coming into play. Anne-Marie, Derrick, we're in really good company with that. Is anyone looking at some of these plays here for a potential downside move? Again, SNDK, STX, WDC, and perhaps MU Micron. Are you interested in any of those? Are there targets there on any of those? Let's talk about it because those could also make some pretty awesome trades there. Really good stuff. Let's see here. Yeah. Chat loves Derrick. We love Derrick. Really awesome. All right, let's bring on someone else that we love here a lot. 13, good morning. Happy Tuesday, boss. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. How is everybody in the chat? How are you?
We're good. We're fired up. We're ready to make some money. Sounds like we are all kind of aligned here and looking for a lot of the same things. I'll tell you what, for a Tuesday morning here, things are pretty good so far. It's early, but things are pretty good so far. Izzy here, bucking the trend, saying no shorts, just buy dips. Okay. I'm gonna give opinions on both sides there, but there you go. Izzy, long and strong as usual.
Okay. Well, wait, hold on. Let me just ask a quick question. Where's the viable dip? Where do we want this to go to before you go? There it is. That's where I'm buying. Can you tell us, Izzy? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, let us know, Izzy. Judging by what I know from Izzy, he's active all the time. Really any dip. but I'll let him answer that nonetheless. Good stuff. Dip after sell-off, no levels.
Okay.
If the stock moves down, look, stonks only go up 13. So if the stonk moves down, it is our duty to buy of course, I'm kidding here, but it sounds like we're going to be buying any dips there. Izzy, let me just kind of try not to pick on you. I hope you don't think I'm picking on you, but not to pick on you here. Do you think we get a sell the news? Do you think we get a move down after the rate decision tomorrow? Does that produce a dip that you are then looking to buy? Curious. Tara says there are 363 people in this YouTube chat. There are actually more in the Twitter chat. Would love to see an equal amount of those likes. Tara, you are on my favorite list here this morning. I would also like to see that, and I appreciate you trying to help us out here. That means a lot. So thank you, Tara. You're awesome. May your trading be green here today, along with everyone else.
Have a terrific day.
Yeah, and Izzy here answering our question. Yes, sell the news 100%. So Izzy, it sounds like you think we're getting a dip here and you are looking to buy that. Here's the homework assignment. 13, I'm not going to ask him to forecast prices magically using his crystal ball or his 8-ball here. So this is how I'll change that around a little bit, Izzy. I will say this. If, in fact, we do get that dip and you are looking to add some of these stocks, whether it's Amazon, NVIDIA, Palantir, or otherwise, in addition to letting us know that you're buying the dip, let us know what level you think is a buyable spot on that dip. Because I'll be honest, I agree with Derrick. I agree with Anne-Marie. I think we're going to get to sell the news. The market doesn't care what I think. And the market has made me look like a complete and total fool time and time again. And I am certain that it will do that again some point. So in kind of the spirit of what we were talking, or what I had said right when we opened the show here, I think the best move is to make a plan for both directions and then trade the hand that's put in front of you here. So help us come up with some of those levels, Izzy. Really, really good stuff on this here, and a really great discussion here from our group and our guests. So, all right, 13, you ready to do some movers?
Let's do some movers.
That's what I like to hear. 13 is locked and loaded every single day. That's what we can count on here. First mover, we got a lot of these movers have no news, or at least had no news when I first sat down here. I looked at the list. I was like, okay, no news next, no news next. Okay, that seems to be a theme here. We'll start with ticker FGI, Frank Golf India. Stock was what, $4 yesterday? Traded as high as 24 and change here in the pre-market today. It is backed 10 points off of that high. We're beneath the VWAP here, actually beneath a lot of moving averages. We are back to the first sideways consolidation area from the pre-market, but we'll see what happens here. Let me just confirm that I still have no news for this ticker here. Quick look at the short interest on this, 5.74% of the float shorted. That comes on 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 42,000 shares per day. So this is one of those ghost town stocks. If you're going to trade this here today, I think it's extremely paramount that you have that trade all wrapped up. If the volume dries up here, you might be in real bad shape. And oh my God, RIP Robert Redford. Just seeing the news here on Squawk. Oh my God, that is terrible news.
So what Redford movie are you going to watch tonight?
Spy Game. That's an easy one. I'm going to watch Spy Game tonight. Robert Redford and Brad Pitt. That movie's absolutely phenomenal. Rest in peace. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Sorry for doing that to you, 13, but let's try and dive right back into the stock market here. What do you think here on FGI?
I don't know if I like this one. This company did go through a reverse split recently in the end of July. It was a 1 for 5. That's why the float is 523,000 shares. I don't see any recent news as to why this moved up, but this is a company that is a supplier for kitchen and bath products. So maybe, just maybe, there's this angle where home building is expected to start taking off as a result of the rate cuts, and a company like this might follow, seeing as they supply part of that home building process, or at least the some of the stuff that goes into some of the rooms. But anyway, that's the only thing I could think of as to why it's moving. I don't have any reason why it's moving. Looking at their financials, they look like they're just on the doorstep of profitability. They've kind of been in that position for about a year now. maybe even longer. But it seems like they don't need to raise cash. They do have some in the bank, but they're just I don't think they're going to need to do a capital raise. It would be surprising if they did, considering that they've got revenue. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at with this one. There's nothing really driving this. It might be moving on home building, but I don't exactly know where this goes. Looking at the chart, it just went beneath the 65 EMA before I came on. It's still beneath that. So unless it can recapture the 65 EMA and go on to recapture the VWAP after that, seems like this might just continue lower, but it is starting to base. So watch for that recapture of those levels.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, it's extremely noble of you to try and figure out that this might fit into a theme and all of that. Yep. But I think that I'm on the same boat here. This is just a trade. If we take it, it would pretty much just be based on the chart. I'm not sure there's any credence to that theme, but good stuff nonetheless. Okay. Another one here, Turbo Energy. And for heaven's sake, at least we have a news catalyst here. This was actually not on my list when I first woke up here today, or excuse me, when I first sat down at the computer here today, but we do actually have a catalyst here. This is ticker TURB, TURB, Tango Uniform Romeo Bravo. Turbo Energy shares are trading higher after the company was selected for a $53 million contract to deploy energy storage projects in Spain with a total capacity of 366 milliwatt hours. Really quickly here, $53 million contract. The market cap for this company on its own is $29.7 million, so a fairly sizable contract there. A quick check at the short interest here, actually fairly negligible here on TURB. 1.68% of the float shorted with 2.76 days to cover. This is even more of a ghost town than FGI. On average, a stock trades 10,500 shares. Yes, 10,500 shares. Several of you folks, actually probably a lot more than that, a lot of you folks can probably be the entire volume bar of the day based on its average volume here. So today we've traded 10.7 million. Float here is 1 million. It's low float, fits right into our theme. Just be careful. Make sure you have this trade wrapped up if you do end up taking this here today. 13, what do you think here on ticker TURB?
What's the pre-market high you have for this?
$8 exactly. Let me actually measure the candle. $8 exactly.
So on Friday, September 22nd, 2023, this IPO'd and ran up to $7.90. So this morning, we just got this massive impulse move that took it all the way up to the IPO high. So I don't know how much higher this is going to go, because you pretty much revisit some of those old levels. That kind of is it sometimes for a while. Now, maybe it's not going to be the case here for Turbo, because this thing has only got 1 million shares in the float, never done a reverse split, never raised capital because I guess they just never needed to. But this company is involved in the electrical equipment for solar panels. So if that industry is not doing too well, then I don't expect this one will either. Now, it's great that they've got this contract in Spain. They've been putting out some news regarding expansion in Spain, over the course of this year. But for today, it looks like we did get our impulse move all the way up to the IPO high. We're backing off of that, and we have a bit of a trend line that we can draw. And I think that's really the only thing I can lean on for upside, is if we can get above this trend line. We do have the hold on a second. I need to go to my broker real quick. We do have sorry.
You're good.
You have the VWAP to break as well. I have it at 626. You might have it a little bit higher.
I actually have it at 598.
Okay. So if we can't get above this trend line, which looks like we're trying to do right now, then this is to me going to go lower. But if we do manage to get above this, I'd look for a revisit of that $7.98 high that we put in the pre-market.
Okay, $7, $8.90 high from the pre. Okay, really good stuff here on Turbo. We'll see
$7.98 high.
Yeah, $7.90 to $8. Sorry, I may have messed up a couple of things. Day trader, did I mess up did I say milliwatt hours? Sorry if I did that. Appreciate the correction. But yeah, sorry about that. So 13 looks like I'm not as sharp as I normally am here today. Apologize for that. Yeah, I got to really kind of work on this T here. I'm in agreement here. Let's see what happens if we end up taking out this VWAP. I think if it does, and I think that the volume sticks around here, this actually might not be a bad play. Day trader, yeah, I did say, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, and I would appreciate. We go for accuracy here. I make many mistakes, so if I make a mistake, please correct me. We're going to go after that. What's up?
Just the electrician in him was triggered. It was funny.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I totally get it. I totally get it. Mea culpa on that one. Okay, next here is going to be ticker BGI. This is Burke's Group. That's Bravo Golf India as your ticker. This one also earlier today. Yep. No news on this one. The most recent piece of news here looked like it was an SEC form from Wednesday, September 10th. Nonetheless, here, this popped in the after hours, really kind of ran into 220 as some resistance. Tried to get back to that area today, but could not break it. I understand that the opening pop peaked above. I don't put a whole lot of credence into that opening candle here. We really have been unable to get above 220 in the process here. We've kind of drifted beneath the VWAP, and to me, that's going to be the first area that we need to recapture. This definitely needs to hold 160. Otherwise, we're probably going to work on closing that gap down if we move lower there. If we do break that, we can look for maybe some other support areas. But for right now, it looks like 160 and 220 are the two areas of note. Quick look at the short interest on this one. 2.49% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average volume of 336,000 shares. Today, we've done 26 million, and the float is 2.6 million. So this one also fits our movers criteria for a kind of a smaller float that we can probably make some money off of if the stock gets going. 13, what do you think here for ticker BGI?
This one looks like it's still continuing its downtrend after coming off the high from the pre-market when we opened here in the morning. That sent it up to 246. So it looks like it is trying to find a bottom right now ahead of the open, but it's kind of the same as the last one we were looking at. If this can't get back above the 65 EMA or its VWAP, it looks like it's going to head lower. You do have support down at the 200 EMA. You also may get some just before that around 155 to 158. Mm-hmm. But if this and that's where I would expect it to go if it can't recapture VWAP and the 65 EMA, which kind of coexist right now. And if they do happen to recapture those, then we're going to want to see this trend line get broken. And we can start looking at some of the highs that it was putting in the pre-market, like around just a little bit past 2. So that's what I'm looking at here with BGI for now. Got to get above those the VWAP and that 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
Okay, really good stuff there, ticker BGI. This one is only up. I hesitate to even say that because it sounds ridiculous. This is only up 95% here today. This was actually up over 100%. That would have been our third 100% runner here in the pre-market. Technically, we've lost that threshold, just FYI, but these are going to be your 3 biggest movers here today on a percentage basis. Next here, we have CNFR. This one, too, no news. There was insider buying at the end of August. I don't know if that's really kind of having an impact here. Here's a look at that insider buying. You can see this actually insider buying back in August. Most recently, there was also a pocket of that back in April of this year. So there has been some insider buying this year. Stock here is about $2.09. Did pop as high as 4. Again, let me just confirm and make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, no new fresh news on this one. So it looks like we're moving on no news here. Again, a short interest check. Elevated, and one of the higher numbers from the stocks that we're looking at here today. 26.83% of the float is shorted with 2.16 days to cover. Comes on an average volume of 128,000. Today we've traded 27.5 million. The float here, the float reading that I have, I almost don't even trust it. It says the float here is 124,000 shares. I'll let me go check the float, but 13, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think that's probably the only reason it is moving. When you have a short interest like that and a float like that, you get moves like this. So that's just connecting the dots. All
right, really quickly here, just to kind of give as much information as we possibly can. When looking at float tracker here, I've got 3.3, 3.3, 3.3, 3.7. So I'm going to go with it doesn't have 124,000 shares in the float. I'm just going to operate on that. Maybe I'm wrong here, but to me, it just seems like that was probably an outdated data pull based on a calculation where not everything was squared away. This to me looks a lot more realistic. But frankly, 13, it doesn't really change things a whole lot. 3.3 million or thereabouts, that's still low enough. If the stock gets rolling, this could make some moves here. So again, I'm sorry for interrupting here, but what do you think on CNFR?
This, here we go with my brain being what it is. Just like what was the other one? I think it was it FGI that had the potential home building angle. This one might too. Only it's on the homeownership side because they do offer insurance products for homeowners in different states here in the U.S. Now, I did notice that there was some pretty interesting insider buying last month. They picked up quite a bit. At least some people did. I don't know if there's any relevance to that, but yeah, that's about as much as I got here on CNFR. I think it's just another one of these speculative things. You can hear me being speculative. I didn't cover this one, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
This one does have the same similar setup as the other two that we were looking at, where it's in a downtrend. You can draw a trend line. Just look for that to break. Let me just look in here in my broker and see what this is telling me here. So yeah, we still have we're still pretty far away from VWAP. 236 is what I've got. We're at 209. So this is at a resistance area. We've traded this one before. This is at a resistance area. There's also the 65 EMA in the way, but if this can get back above that, then I'd be looking at the VWAP as a resistance next, followed by 250.
Okay. Yeah. To me, this has really got to hold too. The easy target to see there is, in fact, 257, which is where that VWAP is, right around the 250 area you just discussed. We'll see if we get it. I did kind of eyeball a trend line on here. Maybe we'll break it. We shall see. Real quickly here, Perry is asking, did you all discuss the retail sales? You know what? I was actually watching so we were interviewing Derrick at the time, and I was watching the S&P here, and it really didn't look like it moved at all when the data came out. So I just kept rolling here, but this is actually a really good mention. Let me go back and kind of thank you, producer, for throwing those stats there in the chat. U.S. retail sales month over month for August plus 0.6, 6/10 versus the 2/10 estimate. Core retail sales month over month for August 7/10. That's versus the 4/10 expected number. U.S. retail sales month over month for August, the prior was revised from positive 0.5 to positive 0.6. U.S. retail sales year over year for August is 5%, and the Redbook retail sales index plus 6.3% in the second week of September. Since that data print has come out, S&P futures have leaked a little bit, but they're still holding on to green, up 0.07%. Dow, which was the weakest here this morning, is down 0.15%, and the NASDAQ is also holding green, up 0.2 at 0.2%. So there are your numbers. Didn't really seem like there was an immediate reaction when the data came out, but since then we've maybe leaked a little bit here into the open. So, okay. Next here, let me actually discuss another one here that Jay Rice is bringing to our attention. 13, I'll probably turn it over to you to see if there are any other movers that you did look into after this, but we are going to take a look at AMKR here today. This is Amcor. Amcor traded up yesterday in the after hours. It's holding its gains again here in the pre-market session. And frankly, this chart looks better than some of our other movers here. Jay is saying, like TSM, they're building a new plant out here in Arizona. We take a look at that, or if we take a look at the news feed here, you'll also notice that September 10th, we actually, that was an insider sale there. They had a recent senior notes offering here. I don't necessarily see why it's gapping up here today. Jay, I feel like maybe you've brought this ticker up before. But notable here because we are up by just about 9%. Quick look around the horn here at the short interest, 4.01% of the float shorted with 3.53 days to cover, comes on an average volume here of 2.04 million shares. Float much, much thicker on this name, not like a lot of the movers here, 141.5 million. 13, I know this probably wasn't on your list and you probably didn't dive into it, but is there any knee-jerk reaction you have here or on the chart?
See that after hours high?
Sure do.
Looks like that's where it's headed, at least. So that would be another 50 cents from where it's at right now. But if it continues beyond that, there's a potential for gap fill right as soon as we get into that 2850 area. That's going to be back from October, late October of 2024, so last year. And that gap fills up at around, looks like 2950.
Okay. Jay's saying there's some Apple news this morning. Which one is it? Let me know what that is. Let me know what that is, Jay. It is interesting. The stock's gapping up here anyway. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let me know though.
It's got a golden cross. It happened late last month. I think the thing I'd be a little bit concerned about was how extended the RSI is. Feels like that's going to have to come back in, but maybe we do get that push up that fills the gap before we come back in to find support.
Okay. We'll see what we get here for AM. And I'm sorry, I still have Apple up here. That's AMKR. Jay, I appreciate you giving this stuff to us. Let us know if you have anything else to add there. And good morning, Amanda. Welcome back. Missed you guys. Did you do your Chicago trip and see Green Day and all that? If so, how was it? And also, perhaps most importantly, welcome back. Okay, 13, did you have any other tickers on your list here that you wanted to cover?
The only thing I looked at,
PVO?
That's the one. That's the only one I looked at today.
All right, I'm just going to...
It actually has news. So
okay, I'll prepare it here for you. Aptevo Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company reported a 100% remission rate in cohort 3 of its Rayner trial for AML with Mipeltamig. That must be one of its drugs that I just struggle to pronounce. This thing today in the pre-market popped as high as 340, retraced about 50% of that move, but it's held on to $2. See if it actually makes a move back to the VWAP here. VWAP at 267, so very similar to CNFR in terms of where the price is versus where the first target is. Quick look around the horn here. 3.11% of the float shorted on this. 1 day to cover on that. That comes on an average volume of 2.2 million. Today we've traded 36 million. Float here, way more manageable, 3.28. So very similar to what we found for FGI, I think. FGI on Know the Float there. So or was that CNFR? CNFR, excuse me, on Know the Float there. So 13, what do you think here on ticker APVO?
I think the way that the drug is pronounced is Mipeltamig. So I'm not sure if that's the correct way or not, but let's just go with it. This is the furthest along of their clinical trials for the company. This is for their cohort 3 of their Rainier trial. And that I already mentioned that it's their furthest one along. The company does need cash. They have less than a quarter to go. And this drug also has orphan drug therapy designation. So a lot of great things going for this, but they are going to have to raise capital at some point. So we might get some turnaround here as we're starting to get in the pre-market. We'll look for this to get back up to the VWAP. I have 330 as a resistance level going when I looked further to the left, but we did hit a high in the pre-market here of 339. So I'd be keeping an eye on those levels. It looks like we are trying to at least test the VWAP here before we make another move. So we'll see what we end up getting here out of the open.
Okay, good stuff there, APVO. There's some other stocks that are gapping up a little bit here. I'm not sure what we think about these. One of the other ones here, I'll just read the catalyst here. This ticker WBTN. This is Webtoon Entertainment. And interestingly enough, we've actually traded this one in the past. Very, very few and far between. I think that was during the time where it was Mitch and I doing that, but I recognize this ticker. I know I've traded it before. Webtoon Entertainment shares are trading higher after the company and Disney entered into a non-binding term sheet to develop digital comics platform featuring current and past comics across Disney's portfolio. JP Morgan maintained a neutral rating on the stock and raised its price target from 14 to 22. It's worth noting that in the after hours yesterday, this did pop as high as 28. We are actually beneath 20 here. This has been a slow staircase down since that impulse move higher. I'll be honest with you, just kind of given the discussion that we've had here about Disney and the content just not being all that great, certainly not hitting like it used to, I'm skeptical of this, at least in terms of the actual catalyst here itself. Maybe we get some movement on the stock. Maybe we get a setup here for a trade. 15.13% of the float shorted with 4.14 days to cover. Maybe we see a little bit of squeezy action here in this name because of that when the market opens. I don't know. It's actually retraced quite a bit of it. So we'll see if we end up getting that. On average, stock trades 700,000 shares of volume. It's got a float of 18 million. Today we've done 1.5. So 13, do you have anything on this one?
I really don't have any opinion on this. It's great that they're getting some business with Disney, but I don't know how great that is. I mean, Disney's got such a large amount of IP. What do they need this company for unless they're going to, try to help them dig themselves out of the hole they've created with their current IP, making, movies that nobody really wants. And now they're just taking this in a different direction with some new content for them to corrupt. I don't know. I really don't have an opinion on this. It's probably much better for Webtoon than it is for Disney.
Yeah. Okay. Michelle here saying, correct, Ryan. I read on this news. It was actually mentioned about 3 weeks ago. And thankfully, since I'm a Benzinga Pro subscriber, I scrolled down the news feed here. August 13th, Webtoon Entertainment shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Disney to bring titles featuring characters from its Marvel, Star Wars, Disney Studios, and 20th Century Studios to its platform. Be honest with you, Michelle, this is a great mention here. Really good memory on your part. And to me, this seems a lot like it's rehashed here. Really, the only thing added to this is that JP Morgan raised the price target. So I don't know where this goes here today. Worth watching. Ticker on the stock, WBTN. Also, check. This is one that we talked about yesterday. This is popping again here in the pre-market, but I'd be very careful. Make it prove it to you first. SNTG, this is one of the crazy ones that we had traded before, crazy low float runners. This got a little bit squirrely here in the pre-market. I don't think there was a catalyst for this. Let's see. Nope, no catalyst for this one. So this just kind of trading action here. It's given a lot of it back. We got Lion Atlas's favorite stock in the entire market, NUKK. This is Nucleus. This actually does have a catalyst here. It's traded up yesterday in the after hours. And is doing it again here in the pre-market. It does kind of feel like 650 is a bit of a resistance area, but the bigger one is clearly $7 here. Nucleus shares are trading higher after the company announced it filed Form RW and is determined not to proceed with the offering contemplated by the registration statement, and believes that the withdrawal of the registration statement is consistent with public interest and the process of investors. So it looks like they're not doing the offering. Stock is responding by going higher here. Take a look at the short interest on this name. We actually had a pretty big tick up from our end of August to beginning of September read on the short interest. 14.83% of that with 1 day to cover comes on an average volume of 3.5 million. Today we've traded just shy of 8 and the float is 3.4. 13, I know Lion is extremely excited about Nucleus. I don't know if he said anything about it today. I'm guessing he has, but I'm certain that we'll hear from it once the market opens here. What do you think, NUKK?
I think one of the easiest ways to get your stock pumped up is to first say that you're going to, do an offering and then withdraw it. That's probably one of the easiest ways to pump up a stock.
Sure seems like it.
Especially when you have like almost 15% short interest. So, it looks like it's been, topping out around 7. Hold on, let me go to my broker's chart. I'm kind of looking at. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, it looks like it's been topping out around 7. So I think that would be where my line in the sand is, and it's kind of trading up into an ascending triangle. So seems like it's gonna, if it comes back up to 7 again, at some point there might be a breakout. It just kind of looks like it's trading up that way. We'll see if that ends up happening. That's really all I have to add to NUKK. Watch for a 7 breakout and see if it runs. It's trading up into an ascending triangle to me.
Okay. We'll see what we get there. Really good stuff. 13 from you. All right. We've got 8 minutes left here. Did you have anything on this list that you wanted to cover? I noticed one of the things that was going on, just full disclosure here, from some of the guys that I follow on FinTwit, as well as some of the traders that are up very, very early. We're talking 4 a.m. to trade some of these market opens here on Benzinga Pro. 2 of the junky Chinese names ended up popping here. WAFU was one of them, and then TAN-H was another one. It is worth noting here, yeah, there was a trade in here, but boy, oh boy, you had to be quick. This thing has completely retraced the move here. So there are some other stocks that are moving here. Another shout out here, AIIO. This is one that Smoked Tuna was all over yesterday. And this thing, I know it had a huge, huge move down late, but boy, oh boy, we had a really big run early and then a pullback and another move towards the highs. I hope nobody got hurt on this, because these are some difficult stocks to trade, but here we go, popping again here in the pre-market, maybe where it's on some lists from relative volume from yesterday. Just an honorable mention here. Get in there, 13.
Oh, I was just going to say, Indiana Jones, I need you to get out of my head, because when I first saw that, I thought the exact same thing. So you're don't be sorry.
The Three Stooges thing.
Oh, yeah.
That gets mentioned every day we talk about NUKK, and it's really my fault because I call it NUK instead of just saying NUKK or giving you the military alphabet readout for it. I just keep calling it NUK, and guess what? Everyone else goes NUK, NUK, NUK. And
hey, Ryan, don't look now, but Jay Rice is saying exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. There was MP news, right?
I don't think it was MP.
Let me go back to the actual post because you guys did a really good job. This will also give me an opportunity for those of you that are thinking about happy hour. Here's something else. We talk about 13 doing a really good job moderating the chat room. One of the other things that 13 just kind of did on his own. Nobody asked him to do this. He just did it because he knew it was the right thing to do. He takes notes during the happy hour call. He participates as well, but he also takes notes about the discussion, writes those down, and then types them here and gives them to you. So while we don't keep recordings of that or transcriptions and we kick out the AI spies to any of those meetings, 13 does an excellent job of really kind of distilling what it is that you need. So even if you can't make it, there's some stuff in there. Here you go. You had actually seen, this is from yesterday, 2:54 in the afternoon, after we were talking about this headline. I had said LEU is the pure play on that uranium. Jay, I'm with you on this. I would not be surprised if the government took a stake. The news catalyst here was U.S. Energy Secretary Wright. The U.S. looks to boost the national strategic uranium stockpile. There were a number of tickers given with this: UEC, CCJ, NXE, OKLO, SRUUF. A lot of the common players that we've talked about on this. I had added here LEU, the pure play on this. Jay, I would imagine that if the government takes a stake in any of these companies, to me, it sure seems like LEU is that one. And the other thing is, if that's correct, I don't know that that's correct, but if that's correct, I see a very clear path from LEU to 300. So just gonna throw that out there. 13, did you have anything to add to that?
Just 300.
Well, okay, I'm trying to be a little bit reserved and conservative here, but if you have one of your patented crazy targets, we'll take it, buddy.
I mean, I don't know how far back your chart goes, but if you can see the high from November of 2021 and draw a trend line from there to the high of this year, I'd be looking for that trend line to get broken.
Oh my God, we've got some steepness to contend with here. Let's do the trend line. I, in fact, do have those data points. I'm going to eyeball it.
That's it.
Here's your trend line. And good gosh, depending on when this happens, that might take us above 300. Really good stuff here, though, 13. I should just have expected that you were going to come correct with the trend line right away. That would have been the right thing to do. I'm going to adjust that just a little bit, zoom in here, make sure I'm pretty accurate. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. All right, good stuff here. LEU.
Yeah, see, Jim Jay's like, he's thinking 300 plus too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 300 plus is definitely the answer here.
Yeah.
Not sure when.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel pretty strongly about this. I feel like LEU would really be the target. Again, shout out Jay and Lion for bringing this to our group's attention. Not a stock that I followed prior to you, gentlemen. I don't know for sure if this is going to happen, but it sure feels like this would be the one. And I can't tell you when it's going to happen. 300 sounds awfully correct on that, though. Really
not strange at all. Some other folks are doing it here. So thanks for staying tuned in.
Yeah, nothing strange about that at all. I appreciate anyone that helps support what we're trying to do here. Whether you lurk, whether you participate, whether you listen, whether you watch, it doesn't matter. Anything that you do to kind of support what we're doing to try and raise the tide for everybody out there, for those of us that do not have Wall Street connections, we salute you. Absolutely. So really good stuff. Please smash up the like. It's a free way where you can help support us. Day traders giving us some of his fib analysis here for LEU. Could see 361. So day trader is not guaranteeing that, but giving you one of those crazy levels there. That's 120 points higher than where it's at right now. Good golly.
We're getting a mention that one of the movers, TURB, is recapturing VWAP. It's above it for the moment. We've gone beyond the trend line. Next spot that looks like it's going to carry some resistance can be that $7 area, and then we have the pre-market high after that. So it looks like $7. That seems to be one of the bigger earlier resistance areas because we have no closes over that on the 5-minute chart. We've just got prints above that. So I'm expecting $7 to be a little bit tough to move through, but if it does, let's get ready for a break through 8, because I think if we can get above 7, test of 8's coming next.
Okay, that'd be really good. We're under a minute here. Really quickly, I did want to show you Dave & Buster's, which reported earnings yesterday and is down 18+%. You might actually have more room to the downside here. Shout out. Big Bees from our group here had the comment of the day, quote, well, he didn't say this part, but he was insinuating that Dave & Buster's is down because, quote, you cannot Klarna your Dave & Buster's order, end quote. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. Laughed probably harder than I should have about it. Maybe some more downside here today. Big Bees, you're an absolute.
You thought about it later that night.
Well, I was thinking. I'll tell you what. I was thinking about my parlays because I watched Emeka Buka. I watched the ball hit him right in his hands, and he just dropped it, and I just waved bye-bye to my $150 that I would have won from that parlay. So, all right, let's open it. Turb getting rolling here. It's actually pulling back to VWAP right here around the open. We'll see what we get.
An FGI didn't like this one before. Don't even like it right now. Making its way towards its 200 EMA. We're open. Let's see what we got. All right, so BGI, this one down to its 200 EMA as well, going through it. Looks like most of these are kind of just falling out of the gate here. NUKK, though, that's getting a little bit of a rise. This might continue upwards. We want to see this one take out that 7 level, as we mentioned earlier.
Turb, this is really interesting. This basically ran right away from the 615 VWAP that I had in my broker, went right up to 7, pulled back. It's a little volatile right now, but I tell you what, 13, that $7 level that you mentioned there, I think that's going to get tested here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. That's the big resistance area. I think taking that out will bring us to 8.
I'm going to leave Turb. There we go. There's your 7 test coming right now. Okay, I'm going to leave Turb on the screen. I've got to visit the washroom. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. We also have, let's see what else. CNFR, that's not doing much. That's the heavier one, so that might move a little bit more slowly. APVO, we're starting to get a little bit of a lift out of this one. Keep an eye on that. BGI trying to recapture the 200 EMA, still having a time with that. Turb, here we go, over 7 now. Looking for it to continue to move up. We're getting that resistance that we were getting in the pre-market here so far. So that $7 area looks like a little bit more, a little bit further into the 7 handle, like 720, still a bit resistance area. So now it's pulling back a bit. All right, what else is moving otherwise? So we have FGI that just came down near its 200 EMA, trying to reverse. We'll see if it gets a lift there. Turb not done. BGI still beneath its 200 EMA. APVO still looks like this one wants to get back above 240 and test that VWAP. So we'll see if that ends up happening. NUKK, here we go. This one moving up to that $7 level. Otherwise, if we're going to continue with the resistance, it's going to get resisted around 665. But $7 looks to be the big spot that provides most of the resistance, as evidenced here by the pre-market price action. APVO, getting a little bit more action here. Looking to take out 250. There's a seller in the way of that level. Is Costco going to split anytime soon? Let me, when Brian gets back, let me have him, take over what's going on with the movers, and I'll look at Costco. Let me just give me a little bit of time, and I'll take a look at it. Getting a pullback here from TURB. What else is happening here? NUKK. Not liking these series of upper shadows here with the NUKK. This may be indicating that there is some downside coming if we cannot hold above the VWAP. APVO almost at VWAP, or my VWAP. I have VWAP at 264. BGI heading lower. Turb reversing now after hitting that $7 level, losing VWAP in the process. FGI, meanwhile, still trying to reverse off that 200 EMA. UPS gaps up. I'm not seeing a gap up. It's green today, so that's nice. What's also interesting is that we went right down to 82 on September 11th, hit 82 exactly, which that's like the last level before you get into 12-year lows. So very interesting that we had some buyers really step in there. We are turning around. We have the 20-day SMA as the next area of resistance. That's going to be just shy of $86. I have that at $85.92. Next area of resistance, I think, for UPS. BBAI is running.
Sorry about that. Let's check it out.
No problem. And then I got to look at, oh yeah, look at that. Right out of the gate, big old bullish candle up to 559, backing off now. You take a look at that. I got to look at Costco because I was asked if there was going to be a stock split at some point.
I'll say this, as somebody that loves Costco and owns some of it, I don't have a huge position, but I own some of it. I would love for it to split. I would just get more. I've got no intention in selling it. I'd love that personally.
Yeah, but wouldn't that kind of make it harder to trade, or wouldn't it not move as well as it is now?
Yeah, but it's one of those where I don't necessarily trade it like that anyway. It's more of a buy and hold than anything else.
Okay, so there's I guess there's kind of your answer on Costco, Indiana Jones. I'm kind of there. Like it could split, but you know there is that concern I have about how is this going to trade after that. So maybe it does. I don't know if it's going to happen soon. Probably once it starts trading over $1,000 again, we could probably have that conversation. But it looks to me like it's starting to roll over, and it could come back in underneath 900. So I think that's what I would kind of lean on. Let's see if it can recapture $1,000, and then we can talk about that being when they start to consider a reverse split.
APVO, this made a nice little push up to the VWAP and backed off of it. I don't know if it's going to go up there again. Turb, of course, lost its VWAP.
Yep, Turb we were talking about, that went right up to that area. We're just a little bit past 7 where there was some resistance in the pre-market. Backed off of that, lost VWAP in the process. We're hoping that this holds, I'm not in this, but we're hoping this holds 555, provide a good support area for it to turn around and recapture VWAP. But volume needs to improve.
Okay, APVO, this actually getting some decent volume push here. Maybe this attacks its VWAP again. I've got 258 as the VWAP here, 262 in the broker. We'll see if this continues to trade up. Remember, this does actually have that catalyst there. So we'll see if we get some movement here on APVO.
BBAI hit a wall of sellers at 564, backing off now, coming down to VWAP. Looks like APVO. That one's, if this goes beyond VWAP, I think the next resistance area is going to be around 295.
Okay. So maybe even a 3 test here. I don't know though. That VWAP is going to be pretty important though. It's really kind of been under that the entire morning.
Yeah, and there was a big drop beneath it at 850 this morning, but now we're coming right back up to it. We're going to try and take out this seller here. Watch
258 here. This could be important. Boy, it stopped right there. Did you see that? Stopped right at 258. There were actually prints there too. I'm watching this here on the level 2. Let's see if we pop above.
FGI halted to the downside. Turb, that's coming back, trying to recapture VWAP.
APVO right again, right back to that 258 spot. Sure looks like this is going to fall here if we get prints there at 258.
Turb recapturing VWAP.
Okay, I'll go to that here in a sec. Oh my gosh, APVO, we'll take that one. 1 for 1 here early. What a pop there. I will take that.
Nice.
All out here, APVO. Let me go back to Turb.
And you know what? If AVPO can hold its VWAP, it's probably not going to be done. So something to watch for if it holds. Turb also trying to recapture its VWAP. It's above it right now, but we got to close this candle out.
Yeah.
So 2 things to watch for: Turb and APVO. If we can go have these candles, these 5-minute candles, close above their VWAP, that's going to be a good sign. We could see some higher prints afterwards.
Okay, Izzy saying, Ryan, what stock can't see with cart? Allo? What? Sorry, man. I don't know what you're asking about. The stock that I was just trading was APVO. The other stock that we were talking about trading here was Turb, TURB. I'm not in either now. I just successfully closed out APVO.
Smoke Tuna mentioning check. That might be good.
That was one from yesterday.
Yeah. Kind of an inside candle this morning. Let's see. So Yeah, so watching for Turb and APVO to get above that VWAP.
APVO, I have it above the VWAP. Turb looks like it peaked above and then pulled.
NUKK, this is also trying to recapture its VWAP. It's VWAP recapture hour, folks, here on pre-market playbook.
Okay, but that might give us trades there.
Yeah.
Here is your NUKK.
Yeah. So let's okay. So here we are coming back up to that 670 area where we were topping out at going into the open here. Let's see if we can clear that area out and get back up to 7. Good stuff here in NUKK. Seller at 650. Looks like BGI is trying to turn around here after losing that 200 EMA. 125 is the low. See if we can turn around and recapture some of these EMAs. Getting a pull here in APVO. Big pull in APVO.
Smoke Tuna mentioning AIIO. This is one from yesterday that seems to be at a pretty important spot here at $2. It's really going to have to push through that. I'm looking at it here in the broker. There's size there, and it's real, and they're hitting it, and there are actually prints at 2, not just shy of 2. Big volume bar there. We'll see if 2 pops here. If it does, this probably goes higher. Tuna, let me know if you have another target here. I know we ran up to 240 on this big push yesterday.
Turb, it closed over its VWAP. It's pushing higher, looking for that 722, 720 area that we ran up to out of the gate. If we can clear that out, I think we hit 8.
Okay, good stuff here on Turb. At least we've got some stuff to trade here.
Mm-hmm. Looks like BBAI, kind of whipping around, but it's above VWAP right now. Looking to retake 550. There's a large seller in the way at 565. That's what pushed it down initially. So we get back up there. Keep that in mind.
Which one was that?
That was BBAI.
BBAI. Okay, Big Bear had a big run there out of the gate. All right, Turb still pushing towards 7. APVO, yikes, that kind of lost it. That was a quick one. And then AIIO. Smoke Tuna says this will go to the high from yesterday. That's going to be 240. That'd actually be a decent move here. I wonder what those sellers were for at 2. Was this maybe a big support break yesterday that we saw?
Was there an offer?
AIIO? I don't think so. No, I don't see it in here.
What time did it come? Did it pull?
Let me go back to the chart and I can give you an exact time there. Looks like that time was 1:55 Eastern.
Okay, I don't see any
in the afternoon, 13:55.
Yeah, I don't see any news at that time.
Yeah, me either. Tell you what, Smoke Tuna, you let me know what you think. I guess you already have this 2 spot. This is going to be the battle here on AIIO. They pulled it off that 2 spot by a couple of cents, brought it right back, and I'm seeing more prints here. There it is. So they did move through that there, 204. We'll see here if we get another move on this.
Turb still hitting that resistance at the 720 area.
207 now, AIIO, really good stuff on that.
Oh yeah, that's
10 now. That is continuing to push up, and they're actually taking those spots down. Those spots that have sellers, they're hitting them.
Yeah,
AIIO out half there. Good stuff, Tuna.
Yeah, it looks like that might run up to 215 and then pull back a little bit. But if it doesn't sell off and lose 2. Then I think you could set up to push to that high from yesterday, that 241 high.
Okay, stop raise to 205 and the remaining piece. That was a good mention there, Tuna. Getting paid early on that. AIIO. 2 for 2 on these. This is not bad. We'll take that.
FGI is open down to its 200 EMA. Looks like it's trying to reverse. We'll see if that ends up happening. Turb, perfect. Here we go. New session high.
Every time I take it off my screen, 13, it's like as soon as I do it, it's like, hey, Turb, it's going. Boom. Oh, and then, Joe, you're reminding me here, Micron holding like a rock. Let me know, you folks, who's taking any of those really extended trades. Again, those tickers were Micron, ticker MU, WDC, SNDK, and STX.
There it is. There it is. Turb, 8.
Right to 8. Really good stuff here from the group. Really good stuff here from the group.
I'm sorry, we were 5 cents short. I'm sorry. Got to make sure I get that.
That's pretty good though. Pretty good.
Maybe we'll get it here in a moment, but if it doesn't pull off or pull back.
Pretty good. VIX, by the way, ticking up here, 1589.
There we go. Now we got 805 is the high. Perfect. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Sayeja, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry that I'm butchering it so badly, but you have a good question here. Does AIIO, excuse me, still have space? We were talking about this possibly going to yesterday's intraday high. So 240 is the target here on the VWAP, or excuse me, on the $2 break. Does it have room? Yes, based on the range that it's carved out, no indication that it's definitely going to go there. That's why I sold half into the big pop that we were looking for. And now my stop above the entry price there down at 205. Entry price was at 198. So if this pulls back here, all those gains will be booked, but looking for that 240 there on that. It's just such a good timely mention.
FGI coming up to its first area of resistance at 11. If it can get through that, I think it could go to 12.
Okay. Webcoin, by the way, on AIIO, float is too high for a large move. Just a reminder there, float is 243 million. Webcoin might be onto something there. The big pop has already happened here. So I don't necessarily think chasing this move is the right way. Smoke Tuna here saying load on pullback. I guess I should just shorten that. That's exactly what I was going to try to say here. This might be worth it if it pulls back here. I'm just not going to let the remaining trailer of my position go red. That's all.
And Smoke Tuna, are you looking at around 2 for the load zone? Like, is that, where do you see the loading zone at? Because for me, it's going to be either 2 or 187. You tell me what you see. Really like the price action in Turb. That was excellent.
Load at 203 there. Okay.
That makes sense.
Price action here on Turb. That was great. And then I'll tell you what, that little shake right at the beginning there, traded up, then traded down and went red, really kind of caught. Buyers expanded, took us right to that $8 level that you had flagged.
Oh.
It was right to it.
It doesn't look like it's going to pull off of this area either. It looks like there's still a chance we might get some higher prints. So let's keep that in mind. But VWAP is currently support. VWAP and $7, 727.
Yeah.
Right
So moments ago, Trump speaking to the press here says we will have a deal on TikTok and we'll be announcing the buyer. No indication on when that's going to come, but that's being said here as of this morning from Trump himself. I don't know if there's a trade there. Someone was asking earlier about Snap. It didn't really fit the discussion that we were having, so I'm sorry that we didn't get to it. I don't think Snap is going to necessarily be that buyer, but look at this. This trading higher here on volume. Who was that? Was it Kyle or Keith? I think it was somebody with a K. Really good stuff. Look, I'm sorry we couldn't get to that earlier. Just couldn't fit it in. This thing ran right to yesterday's intraday high, broke it on volume to the upside here. Not in Snap here myself. Not going to trade it, but this was a good mention nonetheless. I'm sorry we didn't get to it.
Yeah, all that glitters. I think Oracle is the leading contender for it. So kind of expecting to hear about them acquiring it or taking a large stake in it. Now, if that happens, what do we think is going to go on with the stock? I tend to think it's going to come down. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Oracle comes down if they're the ones that are buying TikTok?
God, that's normally 13. I would just say yes, and I would just agree with you. But with the whole guidance, crazy guidance, and the earnings that this company produced, we already had kind of a move back. I don't know if you caught when Derrick was talking about this earlier. He said that this pullback here happened so quickly and was to such a degree that he's not necessarily bearish on it anymore. I'll be honest with you, although this did not give us an exact floating island formation, the fact that we're back into this range, I'm not so quick to say that we're instantly going to pull on this. I almost think there might be some, as Mark Petrino calls them, not reluctant, but trying to think of the right word, and I'm coming up with a massive blank here. But basically, anyone that thought maybe they missed this, maybe they feel like they're getting another opportunity here on Oracle. So I'm just not sure that this one is going to roll over yet. I just don't feel great about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this could come in.
Look, I think it absolutely can on trading, but I'm just kind of in Lambo Rolls' camp right here. It's got so many positive catalysts right now. I think that it goes higher. Maybe I'm wrong. This is just my gut feeling right here. Joe says he's waiting for Oracle to simmer. Puts will print again. Not as dramatic after earnings, though. Barat here, who's just been on absolute fire, just completely in fuego, saying buy the dip on Oracle. So far, it looks like the market agrees with you. That's what folks are doing here. Now, as far as like a spot right away here, sure looks like 320 was a resistance area, isn't it? Jay Walker, good to see you, man. Good to see you again. Turb above 8. So now we've taken out that 8 spot. Also getting a pullback here, AIIO. Ooh, I was 1 cent off the stop there.
Wow. Look at Turb go.
Go, Turb, go.
You're going turbo.
Jay Rice says, GE, that is one beautiful chart. No one on Twitter talking about it. GE's boring, Jay. That's like boomer stock, right? I'm totally joking here. This is a great chart, to be quite honest with you. Jay, do you think that there's another trade here? Do you think that there's more room on this? And then Barat, this was the other one. There's so much happening here. I'm not going fast enough. It's a me problem, not a you problem. It's not you, it's me. For whoever gave the Seinfeld reference earlier about putting you double dip the chip. That's like putting your whole face in the dip. Bonus points for you. CoreWeave here, interestingly enough, this did sell off here. Barat, what are you thinking? Are you thinking a pop back to VWAP might be more short entry? 13, I'm sorry for running you over.
BBAI, this looks like it might be double topping here. We did have a pullback after hitting 564. We went underneath VWAP. Now we've just blasted off, came right back up to that same area. And now we're backing off again. Now, we might be double topping. We might not be. This really depends on what happens with this candle next. If this holds VWAP, then I think we could still potentially trade higher. If we start to lose it, I think that this may come down into the 530 area.
Okay. And it does look like AIIO, at least now on the backside of that move, the volume is contracting a little bit and it is pulling back. Now, we did have that $2 breakout spot. I think Smoke Tuna saying 203 possible load zone there. We'll see there on AIIO. Number of you folks mentioning Turb again as we go through 9 now. Turb approaching possible 10. Really, really good stuff here.
We're in blue sky territory now with Turb.
There you go. Really good mention here from the group. More stuff to trade right out of the gate. Brian here saying Turb needs cash, so be sure to take profits at some point as this is likely to dilute soon.
Yep. I do need cash.
Jay, I love this, Jay. I don't know, Ryan, but on GE, I'd prefer a name with no eyes on it. Interested of something like JD, which they're all chatting, instead of something like interesting. So you're going to where the talk isn't, hoping that the talk goes there in the future. Sounds like to me. Barat, long Baba, short CoreWeave, and Broadcom. I like it, Barat. Tennis is Life asking us to define blue sky territory. What we mean by that is that there's no resistance in the past. This is now breaking and there's nothing above it. It's just nothing but blue skies above it. This you could really kind of see on the SPY chart, right? As we continue to make new all-time highs. How did we do here today, by the way? Did we actually set one? Let me zoom in here.
We did in the pre-market. I don't know about the open.
Yeah, I've got the high here at 661.78, and I have the high in the pre-market at 662.65. So it would appear as if, yes, we did set a new all-time high here today on the SPY right at the open.
FGI is still holding that 200 EMA, but as these other smaller EMAs bear down on it, it really gives very little room for the price to go except down. So thinking FGI might, if we don't get some volume expansion here in the next 30 minutes, this is probably going to fall out beneath the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Okay, Turb, Smoke Tuna saying this is going to go to 10. Wouldn't be surprised here, taking a little bit of a break here. Daniel's saying everyone who bought SPY on the pullback, congrats on your 10 to 20%. Look, dip buyers continue to get rewarded. There's something real about that. Also, glue here. This is another one that we've traded recently here. This is Monte Rosa Therapeutics. This trading up here by about 3.5%. Let me make the chart visible here for you. Here's what this looks like. This is interesting because this popped in the pre-market yesterday. The high today actually, I think technically it took out the high from yesterday. I mean, if not, that's basically, yeah, it did. It was a new high here today. So maybe we get something here on glue. I'd like to see volume akin to what we saw yesterday, although it is still elevated a little bit here today.
Look at it's funny, I mentioned this yesterday in the happy hour, but SPY right back into that red, green pattern now.
Stopped out of AIIO on the back move here. Sorry, 13. It's still a winning trade, though. Still feel good about this one. See if we get to a load zone here. I've got VWAP at 195. Did you want me to go to that SPY chart? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I was just, mentioning something that we've talked about a lot about with these, with this, SPY going, from red candle to green candle. We're just back in that pattern again. This is something I was mentioning. That's important. BGI though, that's trying to turn around here, trying to recapture its 200 EMA.
Okay, that's ticker BGI, Boy Golf India. Jay Rice here on Micron, WDC, and STX. Not much weakness despite huge moves. And I think that's what we're trying to figure out here. Is this something where we should maybe wait for some weakness? It just on these daily charts on these names that we're talking about, they do look very, very extended. One other thing that got mentioned yesterday, I don't know if Dugan is around here today, but one of the gentlemen from our happy hour who follows banks pretty closely had suggested that DPST might be a potential long for the rate cut. I have no position on this, but I'm definitely going to be watching this at minimum for a trade on that particular day.
Yeah, Izzy, the Smoke Tuna just said that it's right at its loading zone right now.
Yeah, so real quickly here, sorry for the confusion here. Tuna is calling a loading zone here around 2.02 to 2.03. My initial buy on the first trade here, which was my own trade plan, was at 198. I threw my stop out there on the remaining part at 205 just because I didn't want this to pull back on me. It did. It stopped me out. But I actually did my first sale here right close to 215 as we broke to the upside. So still a winning trade there. I'm not loading this yet. I kind of want to see if this can really hold that zone first and then make a move back towards the highs for today and then possibly tomorrow. So no position yet, Izzy, but I'm already been in and out of this name here today.
I think we just need to see the volume pick up from here. BBAI, man, this thing is just wild. Probably great for trading too. You just get these 20-cent moves out of nowhere.
A little bit of a pullback here on Ondas, down 5%. Still doing a good job holding on to $6 there. Not necessarily worried about it.
Turb looks like that was pulling back a little bit. Support going to be at that 790 to 8 area if it does come back in further. Looks like Wolf with an O has been trying to push up beyond 340 this morning. You got a lot of sellers in the way from starting at 340 with a large concentration up in the 350s.
I think a 340 bust sends us higher there.
Maybe. Looks like NUKK is trying to turn around here.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, Izzy mentioning that the market is pulling here. Jay with a pretty good mention here too. I'd be careful of the rate cut thesis. Nail, Rocket, etc. A lot of this is built in. I've been thinking about this too. I'm on, at this point now, I've sold, I think like 3/4 of my entire position. Yeah, 3/4 of my entire position on Rocket here is already booked at multiple hundreds of percent. I'm doing my best to try and keep a trailer on so that I can potentially, if we get a crazy move here or something like that, I can actually still have some exposure to this. But Jay, to your point here, Rocket kind of telling you maybe folks are setting up for that. Rocket at the lows here today.
BGI, this looks like it's trying to recover from the selling that it experienced this morning. We're coming up to a bit of a resistance area around 150. It's about where the 15 EMA is on the 5-minute. MACD is showing that the price is trying to swing positive. But if we do start trading back up, there is going to be some pretty big resistance around the 160 area. So just something to keep in mind if this is something you're looking at trading. Turb also pulling back some more to that $8 area. We want to see that $7.90 to $8 area hold on this pullback here. BGI continuing to push higher. APBO, that's coming down to its 65 EMA. CNFR also losing a support level of 180. That might test this 200 EMA pretty soon. And UKK trying to hold above 6.
Okay. Really good stuff there. A lot of stuff pulling back here with this market pull. The SPY and the NASDAQ so far have started to bounce. Dow is still near the lows, but we are still going through an active pull here.
Gonna look at BFRG.
G-Man saying Rigetti Spaghetti. I kind of like that name there. Rigetti Spaghetti going up here. Rigetti right at yesterday's intraday highs.
BGI pushing higher, coming up to that 160 area. Turb got support, might turn around and go here. See that low was 808. It's trying to turn around. Hello. What just happened with Ryan? Did we lose Ryan again? Let me pull up my chart here. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Give me a second while I pull on my screen here. Here we are. Let's move over to this. Turn those off. All right. What should we look at right now while we wait for Ryan to get back? Full screen. That's right, Rob. Apple looking strong. Why don't we just take a look at Apple? See what we got there. So this is our daily chart on Apple. We are trying to break over this high, which was 241.32. So about 60 cents away from that. Wow, look at this price action out of the gate here. Straight up. Where are we thinking this goes? This goes right up to here. We'll see how much higher that goes. Bull back under 13. Good for a swing starter here. Let's take a look at Bull. It's Weeble. So we are coming down to some of these September lows here. Real nasty pull. Wonder if the rate cuts are affecting this in the sense that any borrowing done on the platform is going to be at a lower rate. So yeah, under 13 there. Let's take a look at the daily chart. You know, I'm kind of feeling like I would probably wait out a little bit more downside. And, you know, we aren't getting the rate cuts tomorrow until the afternoon. And there's only going to be a couple hours left in the day for trading before the end of the day. So I think I'd continue to be a little bit patient with Webull. Don't let me influence your plan for this, but not liking the way it looks. And this is the third down day, so maybe there is a reversal coming tomorrow. But right now, I'm not sure I like this trajectory that it's on. If that makes sense. Tesla trying to go back to 420. Line, do you think that's where we start to see the price turn around? You think Elon is just waiting for that price to hit and he'll go sell it? Actually, this looks like we could be forming a bit of a bullish inside candle here. Now, if this doesn't break the real body of yesterday's candle, but we continue to trade up tomorrow, I think that we're going to get a move beyond 425. Something that it's setting up to do, but no guarantee right now. It just looks that way. 425, certainly the big resistance area in my view. JPM on weekend? How about now? JPM has been great. It's over 300. Dang, look at this thing go. So I have it, as you can see, I have this trend line here, just kind of watching for that to break. We just got it this week. So now if this comes back in, we're going to want to see a back test of this and have this trend line hold. I don't know if we're going to get that with the rate decision coming. So kind of all bets are off when it comes to the rate decision. Not exactly sure how JP Morgan's going to take it. might be positive for it. 430 incoming. I think our alpha, you're referring to Tesla. They might have a recall due to a bunch of faulty door issues. That's certainly something that's going to hit it temporarily. I think the bigger picture for Tesla now is not so much their EVs, but their robots and I guess the robotaxi. I'm not really big on their robotaxi. I think Optimus is the future of the company. That's just my personal opinion. AIIO next loading zone is 190 or above. Did we go lower? An AIIO, where is that? Well, I guess we did fall beneath 2 temporarily, and then we recaptured it. Seeing a large seller in the way at 215. So even if we do get a recapture or hold above this $2 area, we're going to see some pretty decent volume come up and take out that 215 seller. So there's something to keep in mind here as a stock price reverse. BBAI. This thing turning around again after visiting BUF once again. There's Ryan. How you doing?
Man, oh man, power flickered again here. Producer, where's that universal power supply at? Where is that at? I'm sorry, I'm just getting back online here. Here's Pro. Let me get my broker all set up here, and I'll be happy to join you guys again.
When my face flashes on the screen as the only thing everybody's seeing, I know it's time to break out the chart. So don't you worry.
At least we have a backup plan, 13. Yeah. At least we have a backup plan. And you know what? That could get worse. I could have been mid-trade there, panicking for my life.
And Turbo is now going to halt. It is at 11:15. No, I'm sorry. It did not halt. It was about to, and then it started moving again. But 11:15, still the high print. Fantastic stuff here with TURB. Turb to 12. I don't know. Like I said, we're in blue sky territory, so this can do whatever it wants. But I think if you want to get an idea of where this might go, bust out your fib extension tool and use that. I think that's probably going to be the best thing you could use. 11:39 now, the high.
Really good stuff on Turb.
Yep. Turb is awesome.
Yeah, Michelle, if I was in a trade, so I always keep my phone next to me. My phone actually already had the Wi-Fi turned off, so I would have immediately gone on my phone and tried to manage it, but no bueno. No bueno. I look to be back here, though, at least.
Yeah, Daniel, I thought it was going to halt at one point. It might halt now. Now this might come into a halt. 1185, the current high. It's starting to build up like it's going to halt here, too. And we should see it there. There it is. Okay, so that time it halted.
Really good job here. Really good calls from the group there on Turb.
Yeah, now I don't know exactly how high this goes. I see that there's some folks mentioning that maybe $20 might be the where it goes. There's different psychological levels. 20 certainly is one. You might have 15 is one of the next ones we see. So there's certainly a lot of psychological levels, but I think a really good use of the fib extension tool is going to help determine where you may want to take profits if you're still in this thing.
Jaywalker, really good trade. Good to have you back here. Lions suggesting we should fire the producer for not having a backup power supply. No, one of my producers said he was going to send it to me. It just hasn't been delivered yet. It's not his fault. And it's coming. So hopefully this thing will be a thing of the past. Thursday, I'm guessing, is when that shows up. So for Friday's show, I should be locked and loaded to go.
Excellent. You getting you a cyber power?
I don't know if he ended up going with the cyber power one. He uses that and he's proficient with them. So I'm sure he ordered me a good one.
All right. Oh, hey, BGI. This looks like we're trying to make a move up to that 160 area I was mentioning earlier.
This was BGI, there. Right? Boy Golf India, not FGI? Okay.
The Burks Group. Yeah, I know. BGI, FGI. Pretty much with it, when it comes to FGI, I don't think I like this one to begin with. I don't like it now. It's losing the 200 EMA in the process. This one, I think we can just kind of ignore FGI for now. Maybe it comes back in the afternoon.
Jaywalker, I heard Thursday, Tarkov wipe on Thursday. I can appreciate the laugh there. I don't think so, but I can appreciate the laugh there. No question. Ryan, how about internet power? Is that in the road? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm going to hook everything up to the power supply.
I think that's what he was referring to. Is your battery backup going to be on, your
Yeah.
router as
I'm
well?
gonna put it on. I'm gonna put the computer and the router on the same battery backup. Brad says, "Get Ryan a Tesla Mega Block." Yo, I'm not gonna complain about that, Brad.
Oh,
Just throwing it out there.
the power wall.
The power wall. Can you imagine?
I thought about doing one of those at one point too, because it seemed like a pretty good idea.
BBAI flagging here, still holding above its VWAP. I'd watch maybe 560, and then 565 seems to be the high spot from the day.
I'm watching this too right now. It's starting to look like it's running out of momentum. The volume is slowly drifting away. So unless the volume picks up a little bit more, I have a feeling that this is going to come back in beneath the VWAP. 550 is going to have to be the spot to watch for. We start losing that, and I think we're going to come back in. But I think volume is going to be the big component here, and it's getting less and less as the time goes on.
Market's still pulling here. NASDAQ has so far bounced. SPY still on the way down. It looks like I was a little early on that SPY head short that I ended up closing yesterday.
APVO is trying to turn around here. We need to see more volume out of this, but it's not sinking further. It's actually recapturing some levels, or trying to.
That's APVO, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was one of the ones. It was the one that I covered, but we didn't necessarily look at for too much. It had the 100% remission news.
Jonathan saying, what I'm saying is the internet distribution box that supplies to your house also going out. That will be somewhere in the street. That I don't know. I don't know where that is. Joe says UNH disemboweled. So never closed that gap. It flashed like it was going to and then never did it. I'd almost be curious, where's the buy spot on UNH? Back down here to 340. Let me know what you think there, Joe. Where's a buy spot here so we can complete this gap fill? AIIO looked like it was trying to curl off the VWAP, just pulled a little bit. I've got VWAP at 196 on that.
Yeah, when it comes to UNH, I feel like
325.
I think it's going to come down to the 320s.
Okay,
that I feel pretty strong about.
Okay,
I just don't know exactly where in the 320s.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what is looking good? How much time do we have on this turd halt here?
You said turb, right? Not turd.
Never mind. It just opened.
There it is. And higher we go.
Wow.
13 prints now. Turb. No position
13.
for me as a reminder.
Yep. 1346. Gosh, you know what? I can't even speak. You folks just go ahead and trade this. How you're going to trade it? Just keep in mind this thing is getting extended. We're in blue sky territory. Make sure you're paying yourself. Don't get trapped in this.
The stock of the day, without a doubt.
Yeah. Looks like it's aiming for 14. And trailing stops wouldn't hurt either. And there's 1423. Man, this thing is just crazy. It's coming up to 15. It's almost it's almost there. It just printed 1440. Now 43. Now 67. I'm just going to stop talking.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's any entry here, right? I think this is just this spike here is for you folks that are still in it to just kind of raise some cash on this move higher. STX, by the way, just kind of reviewing that list of stocks that were extended that Derrick talked about earlier. 215 was your high intraday. Pull back 4 points off of that. Part of me wonders if we're going to have any down move in any of these. Western Digital still up near its highs. Micron pulled back several points from the 160.5 highs made in the pre-market, but that looks like it might actually be bouncing here. NASDAQ may be retesting the intraday lows here. We might not be done with the sell-off.
BGI rejected at that 160 area. It actually only went as high as 157, but right in that same area, got the rejection. Now it's lost its 200 EMA.
Tiger's asking for the Turb catalyst. Just went and threw the text there in the chat for you. It's on screen here in the blue box, but I understand that might be a little bit tough to see and read. So I went ahead and threw it in the chat for you. This is what's driving Turb here today. Just went to elite price, 1337. That's for you, Jay Walker in 13.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got your back.
Okay, so we are getting a little back off of the Turb trade here, but it is trying to climb back up. 1473, the current high. What else is looking good here? So, you know, it's AIIO is encouraging in the sense that the wicks are all mostly on the bottom. So it looks like buyers are really trying to step in and keep this up here. Just need to see this this level hold. You know, it's encouraging, but it's not a guarantee. Basically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, just kind of looking at the chart here, we had this one wick that took us down towards VWAP, but we didn't quite get there. I would say this, just to kind of go off of something Tuna that said earlier, always remember, if a trade takes too long to work, it might be too weak to go. And I would apply that here to AIIO. If this is not strong enough to really kind of push above the top of this candle, I've got that value at 207, just to assign a specific number there. If it cannot recapture 207 here in the near term, I think that you probably do retest this VWAP. It's also worth noting that that 210 area was the breakout spot that really kind of gave us those higher prices. I'd like to see these two levels attacked here pretty quickly, and I'd like to see some volume flow in. Some buys coming in here now on the time and sales. Volume stick not terribly impressive yet.
Turb, I think, may be indicating where the sellers are. 1480 is the second time we've gone up in this area. I think the last time was just 1473. Now we've hit 1480 and we're pulling back. So it looks to me like this 1475 area, being that's between the two, necessarily the two highs. I think that's going to be the resistance area for now. I don't know if it's going to stick around and be the resistance area going forward for the rest of the day. But if the price backs off, finds a bottom throughout the rest of the day and then turns back up, this is going to be a breakout spot if there's going to be any trades left here in Turb. So I think that's going to be one of the lines in the sand we can look at here for the price action. Let's see if it can continue to go higher from here. If not, then I think that 1475 area is resistance. And what else is looking pretty good here? Seems like that's just about it. We're kind of just waiting for some of these other names to do something, like AIIO. Waiting for that to curl up, and what we want to see this get back above looks like 210. We want to see this go. All the glitters you're mentioning that Brea, BREA. What's going on here with Brea Holdings? Okay, so this is on a run here this morning. Is this halted? Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. I'll give you a little spiel here on Brea. Yeah, this is halted to the upside. What's the news here with this one?
With Brea?
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull that up here. Sorry about that. I feel like we've traded this one before. We've made jokes about that show, La Brea, on TV. I don't have any news here. I guess Monday morning yesterday, host the Final Four of Italy's first ever Series A Women's Cup for September 23rd to 27th.
That's the 8th.
Yeah, so that's not new. That's stale as can be. Yeah.
The only thing that's really news here is just that it's been halted on a volatility pause.
Yeah, I don't see any catalyst for this, folks.
Well, I mean, that one that you mentioned might be a future catalyst. September 23rd to 27th. You know, I guess keep an eye on this stock for that time frame. But as far as what's moving it today, I'm not seeing anything. It's got a very low float, 1.0 million, 1.06 million shares. What do the financials look like? No real read on a quarterly basis.
You know, when you're done with that, let me ask you a question from one of our news stories this morning.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like, I don't really see what this is moving on, but they are going to have to raise cash at some point, it looks like. This is breaking out into blue sky territory. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's not. This is coming up to some levels from earlier this year, not too many. We're actually at the February highs right now. And if we break those, we'll be in December highs. So I would just kind of look to the highs that we were at prior to this year for the next resistance areas in Brea. What's the question?
Turb is still going. Holy Turb. So here you go for anyone that is in Turb. 17 prints now.
It's got that turbo energy.
The question, there's some news here that Trump plans to scrap the quarterly earnings reporting requirement and move to reporting every 6 months. Seems to be people on both sides of that. And I was just wondering if you had an opinion on that. I understand it's still kind of fresh and nothing's for sure, but just wondering.
Let's see.
And my thought here, 13, while I'm kind of dancing on each side, my thought here is that more information, more better. So reporting less actually just puts retail investors at more of a disadvantage because we don't have as much information. Someone brought up that it would suck because one of the things that you do when you're looking for dilution all the time is you look at their quarterly reports. And if there were simply less of those, your information would just be more stale.
I do recall hearing you guys talk about that. And
yeah,
somebody had mentioned that other markets do it. We might get a move here in AIO, by the way. So I would guess that my first question would be, is the other markets that do that, what's their capitalization compared to ours? Because I think that's one of the reasons why we have such a high market capitalization is we're a lot more attracted to foreign investors because we have that information available to them. I think that's just a facet of it, not the reason. But yeah, I agree that more information is better. And when you don't have more information and you only do it like on a semi-annual basis or an annual basis, you're setting up for some really outsized moves in those stocks. I think that, and it can, it can be dangerous.
Yeah,
I can see how I can see both sides of it, but
that's kind of where I was at. I can see both sides of it. I'm not really sure.
I think sticking with quarterly would probably be better in my view. But I really don't have a big opinion either way. I think that it's changing that. It doesn't make really a whole lot of sense to me. But it seems like they're just trying to change markets around at every facet that they can, every turn that they can. Yeah. I really don't know, to be honest. I don't think there needs to be a change.
Yeah, I don't think there necessarily needs to be a change either. But in any case, just thought I'd ask. Appreciate your insight there. Webcoin says he's very perturbed that he did not buy Turb. I'm with you on that one. 18 prints. Looks like we're going to 20 here on Turb. I'm with you on that Webcoin. I traded two other stocks here today, AIIO and APVO, one on both, and still kind of feel like I missed out here today. Because we didn't trade Turb, but
yeah, man, that thing is just rocketing. Well, it's pulling now. 1918 is the high, and we've seen a lot of these similar names where they have these crazy moves up in the morning, and then they kind of come back, they sell off, but then in the afternoon they go into triple digits.
Yeah, they redo it again. So we'll see here. I like Jaywalker. Going turbo might become a new term that we use. We'll try and get that rolling here.
If you know what, if this is on deck for tomorrow, then absolutely.
Nathan here saying I sold Turb for a loss today when it dipped. I'll say this. I didn't do that today, but Nathan, I'll tell you right now, I've done that my fair share of times. I've been watching one of these volatile movers, had a very, very quick trigger on it. It dipped. I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. Only to watch it then rip. Those to me are some of the hardest ones. In this, I've thought about how can you become better at this? And I really keep coming back to something that we discuss here on the show all of the time. It's really, really important to focus on your entry. Make sure that you get the best possible entry. You can minimize that happening to you if you're buying these things when they're at any type of discernible support level. When you start chasing moves and curls up, there's a lot of, kind of gyration or volatility. That's shaken me out of more positions than I can count, only to see them go. I'm sorry about that. I would say look back at some of the specifics around your entry for that trade and try and figure out what you can do better in the future.
Brea halted for this. I don't know how many halts it's had today, but it's halted again after opening and going up to 1389. We are now in 2024 territory. It looks like this might even run to 15. No guarantee, but we'll see what we end up getting out of the halt. It just seems like it's got the trajectory. Turb hitting 1974, just shy of $20, like some folks are looking for. I don't know where this party ends, so just make sure you're paying yourself on the way up, folks. All right, what else is happening here?
Yeah, and Lion here is saying be happy with even a small gain because you can't win them all. I actually think this is a really good piece of advice. I tell myself this all the time. When I miss some of these crazy runners, especially on days where I've made money elsewhere, it's a lot easier to stomach that because I realized that I had a process. I followed the process. It ended up yielding green. I just missed one of the crazy things, and that's just part of it.
NAKA, a mover from, or I think yesterday, this is starting to really get some movement going here. Started at 132 this morning. It's now hitting a high of 160. This just started breaking out from some sideways price action. Just thought it was worth a mention. Not really big moves, but it's got some volume going here. So I thought I may as well flag it up.
Yep.
What is this? Up 28% now? Looking for 30%?
Yep. And this is after a pretty huge move down. So the range is there. Barat saying it's hard to stay too long on these kinds of stocks. Indeed, especially if you don't trust them. You've been burned a few of these times. It's going to be hard to stay in some of these, unless your entry is real good and unless you're trimming and paying yourself on the way up.
And we had this conversation the last time we saw one of these runners that just, had life-changing gains. There are going to be others. This is not going to be the last time we'll ever see anything like this. There are going to be many others. So if we missed this today, don't worry. There will be other ones to trade. I mean, we just had like 5,000% runners last week. We're not going to, it's okay to miss some. There'll be others. Wolf with a U, mentioning tennis's life. This has a pretty interesting setup, but it's not really moving a whole lot today. Up 2.5%. Let me look at a smaller time frame. Maybe it's starting to get going here. Okay, I see that we did sell this morning, and then we're kind of going on a bit of a run. Looks like Turb might not be finished, by the way. If Wolf has some more upside to go, it's going to have to chew through the sideways price action it's been dealing with since Friday and the Monday pre-market. But if it does manage to get to that, it looks to me like $11 might be the big resistance area beyond that consolidation.
Dave here. Dave, welcome. Don't think I've read your name before, but sold out of Turb for a cool 2,700 today.
Nice.
Dave, get it done. That can be a month pay for somebody that you just got done in a day. Absolutely awesome, boss. Way to go. Jay here saying 13. I like to put it this way. There will always be another bus.
Oh, yeah.
And I completely agree with both of you in that case. There will always be another bus.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a party bus. Turbo is certainly on a party bus right now. Okay. Just looking for something interesting here that's not starting with a T and ending with herb. What are you folks looking at?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything that we have missed here on FinTwit. I don't see anything. I see a lot of the discussion about the same things that we're looking at, so we must be over the target here.
Jack Ma returns with vengeance to Alibaba. Make Alibaba great again.
Baba's been on a great run recently.
I'm reading a headline here.
AIIO did kind of pop out of the sideways area, but now that we got above that 205 area, we stopped there at 210. Remember, 210 was a previous breakout spot for AIIO. So that would be your next spot here, 2 cents away. Here's your Baba daily chart.
215 has the big seller. Like it's an absolute wall comparatively to the other sellers from here.
Okay, so watch that 210, 215. Your next spot's coming up here on AIIO. Anne Marie, appreciate this. Anne Marie mentioning that the advanced decliners are accelerating a little bit. That's accelerating to the downside, right, Anne Marie? I've got an advanced decline reading here of minus 660, and it is near the lows. Brea's halting like crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Rehalted. Yeah, it is.
It's even higher now. Let me go back to the daily chart here so I can get you some better levels. Like I said, I would. So we're now we're still in the December 2024 levels. Still looks like 15 might be the resistance area for now for Brea. Maybe it's a little bit higher, but to me, 15 on a daily chart, it looks like it might have some power on the resistance side there.
Lion here says, I'm afraid we're going to see a big sell-off after the rate cut. So that goes back to the discussion that we were having about a potential sell the news event. We spoke with Derrick about that this morning. Anne Marie offered her opinion on that as well. We all seem to be on the same side that is likely a possibility and may very well happen. My question to you, Lion, is are you waiting for the actual meeting itself or the rate decision itself? Are you waiting to see how the market trades? Or are you positioning yourself for a down move prior to that? Just curious as to how you're looking at that. And then I guess along those lines, what vehicle are you looking to capture that? Izzy asking if there's marijuana stock news. I didn't see any cross the wire. Here's what MSOS looks like. This actually looks pretty good. I did see Todd Harrison, I think, tweeting something here. Let me check and make sure I'm seeing this correct.
Well, don't know if rate cuts are necessarily going to. Oh, wait, hold on a second. No, that's from Thursday. The DOJ kept rescheduling alive. Congress is about to overwhelmingly approve medical cannabis for veterans. Those close to Trump have been personally promised he will reschedule. Everything's lined up, just waiting for Trump to decide he's ready. Are there any truths out?
I don't see any. I did see something. This was Tom Angel. Oh, he was just tweeting a Bernie meme. I'm once again asking President Trump to follow through with rescheduling of marijuana. So, it looks like, Izzy, just kind of on this trade here, it looks like there's some positioning in this for that rescheduling. I am still in my position. I've actually been adding slowly here, sometimes just 100 shares at a time on CGC. So my method of playing this, where I'm just kind of holding for a kind of a bigger, longer term move, is on CGC, and I am still long and have been adding. I'm actually up on that position. Giddy up.
Brian, it can feel like gambling in this market, certainly.
Anne Marie here saying positioning ahead of downside has not paid well so far this year. That's kind of why I was asking, Anne Marie. Like, part of me wonders if the right move here is to just kind of wait for the decision, see if the market goes that way, and just kind of follow along. Lion here says, well, Ryan, I'm owning a lot of gold and silver stocks. Look at it as a hedge, and I sold a good bit of my stocks. Okay, so you're positioning by longing a hedge there, gold and silver, and then at the same time you're also lightening some of your longs by just ringing the register on that. A lot of that makes sense there, Lion.
Now, answer me this, Lion. If there's no rate cuts, that's probably the only time where we might see gold and silver and the metals do worse. But it seems like if we're getting a rate cut, they're going to do just fine. That just kind of is where I'm at.
All right, those extension trades looking like those might be doing something here. WDC, lows of the day. Micron, lows of the day, actually retesting the lows of the day there. It looks like that's rolling over here. NASDAQ still up off the lows, but still holding lower. Seagate also rolling over there a little bit. SanDisk was the other one in that That also at the low. So it looks like all of those extension plays that we talked about with Derrick Oldensmith this morning, all of those showing some weakness here today. No position for me on those, but I am absolutely looking for that. Anne Marie, I don't know if you caught that segment. I don't know if you have stock ideas for today, but I've got 4 of them that fit into the same theme. In fact, what I'll do here is I'll slack them to you now. And if you want to cover just that one theme with maybe one of those stocks instead of all 4, you can pick the best one that makes the most sense for an options trade. I'll go slack those to you right now.
So Brea unhalted, went to 1483, reverse, and now it's halted to the downside. So didn't quite hit 15, came pretty close. It looked like that was resistance. We'll see if this follows through or not. Brea has just wild moves. Looks like FGI trying to curl a little bit here, but I don't think this is worth really trying anything until the afternoon. Looks like TURB is getting some support. Sorry to interrupt.
You're totally fine. Tom wants to take a look at Circle here. That's been a huge mover. And I'm sorry, Tom, we actually haven't looked at this one recently. What was the pop out of the gate here? This totally round trip this move. We're holding higher here by about 0.5%, but it actually looks like a green to red move was getting flashed on this name. What do we have on this? I don't really see any new news here. Unless those forms are something that I'm not saying. Don't really see anything here on the insiders. Short interest is actually a tick down from the last read to the current read, slightly, but it ticked down here. What are we looking, or can she? Oh, you didn't care about what I thought about it. You wanted to hear what Anne Marie says about Circle. Okay, we'll add that to the segment as well.
Master, you want to look at WBTN?
Yeah, Master, we covered WBTN before you got here today, which is why I didn't answer your question earlier. We pretty much all the stocks that you ask about, we have talked about a little bit earlier in the show. Something to keep in mind here. However, the update on WBTN, this is doing exactly what we said it was when we took a look at this. We looked at the catalyst. It looked like a rehashed catalyst. Shout out to Michelle for bringing that to the group's attention here. And this thing traded down out of the open. Now, it is going sideways here, so maybe you get a curl on this. As far as the catalyst goes, though, I put very little stock into this. I don't think this is. I don't think this is all that great. Maybe we do get a trade technically off the chart here. 13. What do you think, WBTN?
Oh, let me look. It certainly looks like it's got some bottoming happening here. You could even make a case that it's an inverse head and shoulders just trying to put in. If we can recapture the 200 EMA and the VWAP on the 5-minute, then I would think that this is on its way to turning around. But I think the big test is going to be up at the $20 area, where near the 65 EMA. So those are the next 3 things that need to happen: the 200, the VWAP, and the 65 EMA need to be recaptured.
Okay, there you go, Mazur, on WBTN. While we were discussing that, AIIO did take out the 210 spot that this was a former breakout spot earlier that we've now taken out again on the curl. This puts 220 in sight. That's your intraday high.
The 215 seller is still there. It's building up even bigger now.
I see it. Yep, I see it there.
Yeah.
Daniel says turbo's out of jet fuel. D says overslept today. Must have missed a trillion. Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome.
I would say Turb could be on its way to being done if it gets beneath, I guess I'll say 1350. Excuse me. It's still kind of trying to hold up here above 14. So if this continues, it might be trying to reverse. I need to see a little bit more weakness, and it seems like this is getting bought up down here at the 1440 area.
All right, market sell-off seems to have at least stopped temporarily here. NASDAQ, Dow, SPY, all showing the same thing. We're not continuing that sell-off, at least not yet. Maybe we bounce here, we'll see.
No, it might just be waiting
per
for
Bank of America. Per a Bank of America survey, most investors have zero allocation to crypto. Bank of America September survey shows 67% of fund managers hold no crypto. Only small fractions allocate 2, 3, or 4%. Overall, 84% haven't started structural. Let me see if I can read the rest of this to you. This is a surprising note. Haven't started structural crypto investments, while only 8% have. I'll tell you what that tells me? I don't think crypto is going to zero. That tells me that we are still extremely early in the crypto phase.
Well, doesn't it also kind of speak to non-adoption?
No, because I think it's getting adopted in other applications. It just seems like fund managers haven't increased their allocation to it yet. So, I mean, non-adoption, I don't think that's much more of an adoption comment than it is an investment comment.
Well, I mean,
hold on, let me ban the spammer here. Sampath, go find some other clown show to do. You're not going to ruin ours. Take care of yourself, clown.
What I'm referring to is if those investors aren't jumping into crypto when all these other companies are making treasuries, is it because they don't believe it? They just don't want it because they don't think it's adopted?
We would have to actually ask the fund managers there. Lion here says it's just going slowly. Geo says you're making a great point that maybe it is an adoption thing.
Well, let's just wait and see what we end up getting here. I think that kind of says some things about where fund managers' heads are at. If most of them, like what, 2/3 of them are not on board with crypto. That's a data point we shouldn't ignore.
Okay, so that serves as more of a warning than a sign that we're still in kind of maybe the early innings investment wise. No, we'll see how it plays out though. Fair enough.
he does drop the ban hammer quick. Yep.
Yeah, I mean when it's stuff like that.
Does anyone remember the last time interest rates were cut? Did crypto go up? Let's look at December last year.
Yeah, it was December 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can actually pull that up here. We haven't gone to the Bitcoin chart in some time. Let me do that real quick.
All right.
All right, so you were saying December of 2024. Tell you what, December 18th of 2020. When was that rate cut? Was that December 2018 or December 18th? Excuse me.
I think so because
that was Wednesday. Yeah,
you got a big drop.
So there you go. So here you go to that question here, Michelle. I think you were the one asking the question. Last time we did this, it sold off. Now it ended up coming back and setting a high before really selling off, but that sell off really kind of took us to the Liberation Day. So there was some other stuff going on there. But that first initial move, absolutely, that was down.
Yeah. Now, what happened in September? September that year, we got a 50 basis point cut. Let me look. I just want to look and see exactly what the date was. That was September. No.
Is it September 18th? Because we traded up that day.
It is September 18th.
Okay.
That was a
there you go.
Point cut.
AIIO, by the way, above 210, but still hanging out beneath that 215 with the large seller that we flagged earlier. So I played this track for Clio. That's budgerigars waking up in the morning, and it's basically a bunch of wild budgies cheaping, and the cheeps grow louder and louder as more and more of them wake up. And every time I play it for him when he's in the other room, the room has no windows, so I want to give him something. I see, like, it feels like his volume also increases with the rest of the birds there. So some of you might be hearing that over my shoulder. Kind of funny. Birds are amazing creatures, by the way, for anyone that doesn't have experience with them.
I used to have 6 Australian red rumps, 4 Indian ringnecks, and 2 lovebirds.
Oh my God. You have more of experience than I do.
Oh, they're messy.
They are. But I'll tell you what, a handheld Dyson makes that task a lot easier. especially for parakeets. Anyway, let me roll through some of the stocks that are moving here. APVO, wow. I guess I got lucky on that one. That's done nothing but sell off here. ILLR, this got mentioned earlier when it popped into dollar territory, actually flagging like it might try and break above 110. I don't know if it's got the strength to do that. Let's see. Here's Turb. The producer asking me if I will dress like a pirate and put the bird on my shoulder. Unfortunately, I can't get the bird to sit on my shoulder, but no, I will not be doing that.
That'd be awesome.
They were former dinosaurs. You're right about that, Michelle. And when you live with them for a while, you realize where that all came from. You realize what that all came from.
Lion, also remember we still have the Clarity Act that needs to pass. We've got the Genius Act to go through. We need the Clarity Act still. So we still have more regulation coming.
I'm trying to see if there's
Turb. Don't look now, but this is trying to push back up to the session highs.
That did bounce pretty good off that 9 EMA. I have two birds that typically only come out in traffic. Lol. Sorry. That comment was pretty good. Webtoon, by the way, this is still trading sideways. AYTR just flashed on my scanner. Was that the one that Shkreli was shorting yesterday that you guys mentioned about? I got the ticker wrong, didn't I? AYRT.
Hollow hitting market sniper scanner.
Damn it. What was that ticker, guys? ARY.
It is Joseph, but I don't like the.
Can't remember what it was
right now. Over the past couple of days, or maybe even a few days, it looks like it's kind of been topping out.
ATYR. Here we go. ATYR Pharma. So it looks like this is actually trading higher by about 12% here today, but it's in penny stock territory. All right, just wanted to check in on that. Sorry, 13.
No problem. That's not a quantum name, so he's probably not shorting that.
No, it's a pharmaceutical name, and this is we talked about it yesterday. He is, in fact. I think that was a public short for him.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see that he's getting back into something he knows more about.
I was going to say that's an industry that he actually does know.
Yeah.
All right. BGI, that's nothing there. AIIO looks like we backed off that spot. Still couldn't clear out 210, or excuse me, 215 with the huge seller there. Top with 2 Ps. This is ripping on volume. Top Point Holdings. Some of you mentioned this, I think. Was there news on this? Nope, don't see it.
What's the float? Is it just another one of these low float, low market capitalization names?
Yeah, 4.3 mil in the float, 34 mil cap.
Okay, that's pretty much in there. This one entered a memorandum of understanding with Peru's Chancay municipality to overhaul waste management. That was news we traded this on last time, I think. That was back in June. Because I remember seeing this one before. That might have been the news we traded it on.
Yeah. Amanda says, so the chirping is making my cats really happy. You can keep that one every day. Now you know what my cat goes through every single day. My cat also hears when he flaps his wings, which gets him really excited because you think there's going to be a unscheduled meal that never really materializes. And Amanda, I didn't realize Green Day hadn't played yet, so sorry about asking you earlier. I'm sure you're excited for that.
Eric, what's the news with TOPP?
I didn't see news. It was halted, I think is what they were going at. I don't think there was news. It was just one of those circuit breakers.
Well, if you see something that we're not seeing, then
got it. Fair. Yep, of course.
Yeah, Turb's still hanging out here, but I still think we need to exercise caution on this one. Its momentum has really slowed. It's trading at some of the lowest volume it's traded in this regular session. So be careful with TURB if you're trying to take another trade in this one.
Really think, don't we want to see this show some strength getting back above 1750? We kind of want to see that.
Yeah. That's kind of the rejection area right now.
Volume has continued to compress here as well.
Mm-hmm. Take on NVIDIA at this point, I don't think I'd want to be anywhere around NVIDIA for the moment, especially if we're expecting weakness in the tech sector. The chart kind of looks like it's about ready to make another move lower. It seems to me like 175 is probably going to happen here today. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I'm basically, I was thinking here, let me actually redraw this one. That makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to draw this trend line, see if we break that here. The other thing, oops, did I click the delete button by accident? The other thing that we've talked about here with some of the tech names is that we're all kind of waiting and I guess hoping and waiting for perhaps a rotation out of the highly concentrated mega tech. And NVIDIA would absolutely fit that bill. So even if we don't get like a big sell off event, if there's just simply rotation here, NVIDIA might not be a good long play on that.
Yeah, so pretty much the entirety of the Mag 7. All we're getting rotated out of. Yeah, but it'll still hold up, but there's going to be a lot of money leaving those and going into the more hammered down names that have yet to run. FGI starting to turn around here and come back. So here we are with this on a return. Still think this will probably trade better in the afternoon. I don't know how much of an upside this can provide here in the morning here ahead of the lunch hour. Which, by the way, we are past that 10:30 time where volume does leave the market. This thing is coming back up here. It looks to me like this 65 EMA around 1175 might be the resistance area if it doesn't hit 1150 first. But I think this is probably end up trading better in the afternoon if it doesn't make a big move here right now.
Okay. Judge, take care of yourself.
Take care, Judge.
Is on CNBC right now. The CEO, Bill Hartz.
Oh, you mean FGI?
Long-term stock exchange CEO. No, he said FIG. I don't see this as the Figma CEO. Maybe I'm just a little bit delayed, though.
I mean, Figma is getting hammered this morning. I don't know on what either.
FIG doing its best to hold this 52.5 intraday low from yesterday.
Tesla's above 420. I think I was saying I was looking for a higher spot. Let me look and see what that was. Because yeah, 420 was certainly an area we were keeping an eye on, but I think I was liking the 425 area a little bit more. 425, 426. We hit 425.70 yesterday. So that's also a potential area as well. FGI is halted, by the way, to the upside.
Okay, I can take a look at that real quick. Turb at 15.
Yeah. Turb looking like it could come back in. I'm not saying it will, but it looks like it could. MACD is indicating that this momentum has really slowed. I wouldn't be surprised if Turb came back in. Maybe it trades better in the afternoon, but this is looking a little weak here to me.
AAIO finally took out that 210 there. There was size there that they took. They're coming up to the 215 and 13. I still see the gigantic size there. They're hitting it. Yep. So it's real. If this takes, I think that probably does pop. Not in this, though. Don't feel great about this upside break here. In other words, I don't feel great that they actually take all this. We'll see, though.
We need more volume than this, I think, to make the big move that's going to take us beyond 220, which is the session high. I think I'm right there with you. We need it. They're chewing away at it.
They're taking a lot of it so far.
If this continues and the volume accelerates, this might be pretty good. But yeah, that seller right there. I think you just got to watch it. They just cut it in half.
Yeah,
now reloading it. Yeah, this is definitely the spot right here. It's either going to break out or just reverse.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this pops, but just knowing some of the day traders on this, volume stick is huge. Just knowing some of the day traders on this, I wouldn't be surprised if they sold into this pop above. Alexa asking why FIG is getting hammered. That's what I was trying to figure out here. You could see Figma basically did not have the strength to get above 55 here today. It tried yesterday, couldn't do it, tried again today. Now it looks like it's just kind of range bound. We're actually inside yesterday's candle. This is why I was following up with Izzy on that, because I didn't see anything in here, right? IPO candidate Databricks builds its name in Latin America AI market. I don't know that this is really causing Figma to move down. I don't see any fresh news on this. That's why I was wondering if the CEO had said anything on that interview. I'm not sure if it was an analyst, a CEO, or what got said. So not really sure here on Fig, to be honest.
Could just
Don't
be a
really
figment
know.
of your imagination.
Yeah, Alexa's pretty sharp, and I see the same thing that she does. So I'm not sure it's a figment of the imagination, although the joke is crispy.
That's a Figma of the imagination.
Figma, got it.
Sorry.
Reality here, though, just kind of looking at this chart, I mean, this to me just seems like we're inside yesterday's candle. So we've not taken out the low and we've not taken out the high, and we've tried for both. And so as far as a trade goes here, short-term trade on either direction, I'd basically be looking to see which direction gets taken out here. Judging by what the market's doing, probably try and test a little bit lower here. I don't know. I'll let you know if I come up with something. I'm looking around, but I don't see anything specific to Figma.
BBAI, that's moving again. It's not on the greatest volume, but it has moved over VWAP. And interestingly, TURB is still holding this this $15 level. Seems like $15 is the support for the time being, but I have the sense that it's going to fall right through it at some point. Volume just continues to get lower and lower.
Smoke Tuna says Figma's going to $1. Okay, Amazon is a beast. Maybe a TikTok buyer. Maybe. I mean, they can certainly afford it. What do they gain by buying TikTok though?
Who? Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah.
Easier sales. You see something on
TikTok. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Just one click and you're on Amazon's store buying that object you saw in the video.
Yeah, Alexa, Fig does have options. I haven't traded any of them, and actually looking at some of the expiries here, it really looks like the November expiry has a lot of open interest. Several call spots, notably the 55 and the 80. And then as far as the puts go, it looks like the 55 again. So that November contract looks pretty highly traded there. December less so, but tell you what, these Figma options, there's definite traders in here. Not a ton of volume today, but some substantial open interest. This actually might be the first time I've looked at the Fig option chain. Maybe we'll Alexa, maybe we'll ask Anne Marie about that as well. Depending on how much time we have here, maybe we'll take a look at Figma. Good stuff here from the group, though.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking outside of what we normally think about. By the way, AIIO still under that 215 level.
It's right there at 215. They're starting to take it.
Yeah, and Amanda here regarding let me put AIIO. God, how many times am I going to screw this ticker up today? Amanda here saying Databricks wouldn't hurt Figma. Love Databricks, by the way. So Databricks is actually one of the AI names that the Happy Hour group has been waiting for a long time. A bit puzzled by the delay or how long it's taken to actually get that IPO out. I'm sure there are bankers that want to get paid on that deal. What I would say about that, though, is I suspect Databricks, if it's as popular as everyone is making it out to be, I think Databricks might actually suck buyers out of a lot of big cap tech, NVIDIA, Apple, even things that are not directly related to Databricks. I think that there will be such an appetite to own some of that you might actually get rotation out of some of those other names. 215 up again here, AIIO.
Yeah, they've
taken more of it.
They've chipped away at a lot of that seller, but it's still the biggest seller right there in AIIO right now, or AIIO. I'm just going to start calling it IO. Let's make it easy.
Alexa, I love the thought process that you are going through right now. This is awesome. And the fact that you're doing this on mobile is even more impressive. James, your test passed. We can see it. It may be a good idea to pick up an iron condor on Figma. This is what I'll ask Anne Marie. I generally don't do condors, but let me ask her about that. I wonder when the lockup ends on this. That I might be able to tell you. Let's go to the IPO here. Lockup, insider lockup expires on January 27th of 2026 for Figma. That's the date. January 27th, 2026 is what I have here in Pro.
FGI went all the way back up a little bit higher than its VWAP, but hasn't been able to recapture it yet. Really nice move off of this bottoming area at 1814. Still think this may trade better in the afternoon when we get some more volume to come back. So not interested in this right now, but nice to see that it's trying to recover.
Lion here saying, what about a leap call? Well, I'm not on the bullish side of this. Amanda here saying, I agree with tuna. Figma is unsustainable. Smoked Tuna called Figma to $1 earlier today. I don't actually use Figma, so I think I'm a little bit more in the bearish camp here on Figma. I would not be interested in the leap call, Lion. But I think that's a good thought. IV rank on Figma 2.9. There's just no juice there.
Turb coming back in. It is Turbo Energy, so I guess I can say that. But Turb coming back in, found some support down at around 1280. We'll see if that holds. I'm not sure it will. It still looks like this could trend lower.
Izzy says, Ryan, you said Alexa, and my Alexa on my refrigerator answered, LOL. Alexa, Alexa, the viewer, could you show up more often and have a discussion so we can continue to get other people's Alexas to spontaneously start asking questions or answering questions? That would be something else.
Yeah. What are you buying? What are you shopping for? Because I want to talk about that too.
Alexa, turn the refrigerator to extra cold.
All right, back to the market.
That's funny. Okay, real quick here. It is 10. We're waiting on Anne-Marie. So 13, when Anne-Marie shows up, we'll get the changeover there. But she answered.
Sounds good to me. Looks like PBAI, we got some new session highs here, 567. Really nice move through VWAP and up to the new session highs there. While we're waiting for Anne-Marie, I'll just cycle through some of these we were trading this morning. Turb, that looks like it's going to continue lower. I mentioned that earlier. BGI, that's coming back up. Seems to have put in a bit of a double bottom, so we'll see if that ends up resolving to the upside. You have resistance at about 155, 155. And Brea, that one's coming in some more. APVO, that one's trying to find a base. And NUKK, that's trying to recapture 6.
This was something else here. Literally just went to turn mine off. Same here. My Alexa is acting up, and I just noticed it's because of you. I'm sorry, Profit Pilot. Alexa, it was really good to see you. That was a lot of fun. I hope we can do that again. 13. Any closing words for the group here on actually a pretty sweet Tuesday?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun trading Turb. I didn't get all these big moves that it made, but I hope a lot of y'all captured some profit there. It was a really nice move. I had some good movers here today, despite the market breadth. But hey, you know what? This is just the way it is, and we'll find some more of these movers tomorrow. We'll trade them, we'll make some money, and we'll have a great time. So until then, folks, I'll see you later. Enjoy Anne-Marie. Goodbye.
All right, 13. Take care of yourself. And just to echo Alexa one more time here, just in case, trading without laughter is just boring. 13. We really appreciate the laughter that you bring to the show. You do a great job every day. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's see how she's doing. Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday. How you doing here today? Oh, no, we don't have sound again? Oh, no. Oh, no, we don't have sound again. I'm going to see if she can adjust it here. I'm so confident in her, I'm even going to throw the screen up here. Let's see if we can get this figured out. Nope, not yet. I want to keep it on just so I can test it. I think she can hear me, judging by how she's smiling. I'm just not sure, though. 13 left. Sorry, folks. Sorry for the audio issues. All right, cannot hear Anne-Marie. I'm gonna actually take her off. Let me go back to this. I will message her. You know what I'll do is I'll throw her camera on here. That way we can hear if she figures it out. Call her on the phone and put it on the speaker. I don't think that quality would be good at all. Okay, I'm going to keep running through some of the movers here. We're waiting for Anne-Marie to resolve the sound issue. Brea here continued to pull back. It might be bouncing. I'd be careful on this one. I wouldn't necessarily trust that. Wolf, several of you guys were looking at this. This kind of looks like really no trade there. Naka maybe through 160. I don't feel great about that, though. Turb pulling back. How do we do on AIIO? We weren't able to break that, were we? Nope, 215, still acting as the resistance there. Look at that volume, too. Look at that volume. Rocket continuing to move lower. The Elman Group, RKT. I think that's just kind of, there was some housing data, right? Maybe it's on that, but this also might kind of be a preemptive sell the news event. Need my feeling on hymns. I think the easy money on hymns was probably already made, to be quite honest with you. Right? To me, it sure looks like really since the second pop here, really since May, we're still kind of in a downtrend here. I know there were several peaks above. Oh, I heard something. Anne-Marie.
Hey.
Hey. Yes.
Hey. Golly. I'm getting a new machine.
What happened?
I don't know. It just,
Okay.
every time I restart it, it defaults. So,
okay. Well,
gotta work on that.
That's okay. We did it. You did it. And we're all good to go here. So I had several ideas for you earlier. Was there any place particular you wanted to start? We had some really good ideas from the group here.
Yeah. So I'll go through Micron, FIG, and CRCL. And then I thought about CoreWeave, UNH, and Oclo. So
okay.
We'll see what we have time for.
Yeah, all of those sound timely. Let's roll.
All right. So first one we want to look at is Micron. And so this one's got the most volume. I did listen to that great T3 segment with Derrick. He does such a great job.
He does.
It's really, really good. So as we take a look at Micron, I actually like everything that he said here for this to be a sort of a blow off top event here. We have this big wick looking at the 4-hour chart, but the highest volume candlestick on the 4-hour formation is actually this one that occurred on September the 11th. And so what we see is that we broke out, came back in, broke out, and every single new high, we've had a momentum drift. And so my suspicion is that if we come back into this volume area, the target is around 150, which is about $8 away from where we are. Now, if it moves to the upside in a blow off top, we want to think about that too. And so I'm going to look at two different things. One is the Iron Condor. And let's take a look at why I picked Micron here. Let me show you this. The put calls are almost 50-50, and there's a lot of them. And so there's a lot of volatility. And we can get almost 50% of the spread here if we go into October, why am I not seeing that? Why did October disappear?
That's 26.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. I could read. Reading might be important for me.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it's when you're hosting, talking, and reading all at the same time, relatively easy tasks can get a little squirrely. So yeah. I totally understand. I got your back.
I appreciate you bailing me out. Plus, I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. So that's all the same. So if we go to October and we say, all right, let's look at 165. That's about $7 away. right? And we look at 140, which is where that support floor is looking, it gives us a pretty nice looking spread. Now, if we want to use what the volatility chains are telling us, they're pricing in a $24 move in either direction. And so this is inside of that. If we wanted to build something that really focused on that, we would look at the 125 to 115, and then how about the 190 to 200. And that gives us less than what I like. I like to have at least a $2 credit just in case I have to roll. I don't want to have a position that's got so little credit that rolling puts me in a deficit. So I actually like this 165 to 175, 140 to 130, because it matches what it is that the price action is telling us. If we do a 1-to-1 upward move on this 4-hour formation, it takes us to 165. If we do a 50% retrace, it gives us 150. But if we come to the base, it gives us that 147. So we're sitting right inside of that sweet spot. Now, if we're looking at it like Derrick was thinking about and saying, hey, listen, this could be a pretty bearish move, you could choose the 130 to 120 to 110, which puts us right down here at the breakaway formation. And that gives us a little bit of downside pressure that we could expand on if the move is a little outsized and it comes down into that space. If we want to take a look at something that's a little bit more conservative, we can go to let me see. We can't. I'm thinking about doing both of them at the same time, so I don't want to use a strike that is. Let's see if we can do 145 to 155, 135. Excuse me. 45 to 135 to 125. It's $1.18, $1,000 potential upside. But if you take the spread, both of these might actually work. And so that is a really nice way to trade what we might be seeing on some downside pressure for a little bit more. Remember, the more expensive your butterfly is, the more likely it is it's falling in the pocket of the bell curve, where you're more likely to make money, maybe 25 to 50 to 100%, versus the really the big bet where it's very cheap and your upside is big. So, we've been talking about this buy the rumor, sell the news. And what we can see, if we take a look at all the charts today, we can see that traders are taking a little bit of profit today. But as the day bleeds on, they're trying to hold floors where they're sitting. And so I still think we've got this big pervasive bid underneath us, so that even if we see a deep dip, the traders are going to come in and buy it, right away. And that has me a little cautious on downside pressure events holding for any kind of systemic move. Although the comment that Derrick had also about, forced selling, not to be ignored. So that's what I'm thinking about with Micron. Let's take a look next at, let's take a look next at, what did we look at? FIG? Do we want to look at FIG next? Let's do FIG. Why not? I lost your sound.
Oh, so that's my fault. I actually
Okay,
had a hardware
sorry.
mute on here. So yeah, Fig was the other one, and then Circle after that. Just a reminder here, Micron was in the same thesis there as WDC, STX, and SNDK. We just picked Micron probably because the options are a little bit easier to trade on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The options actually in all of those are literally 1/10 the float of
Yeah.
what's happening in
Okay.
Micron. So it's going to give us a lot more
Perfect.
trading opportunities. So there are folks that are saying, hey, I think Figma is going to 1. So if we are staring down the price action, we can see that really this big selling pressure event here, if we take a look at a weekly formation 3 weeks ago, they're really trying to hold this. And if they can't, we're going to probably have a 1-to-1 event here. And so let's do a Fibonacci in the other direction to see where the downward flow is. And that level actually ends up being 31 if it has a 1-to-1. The earnings event is mid-November. And so if you're thinking about it trading down into that space, you can try going to the November formation, right? Oops, that's December. Sorry. If you want to go to the November, I would say the 50 to 40 might be the better bet to 30. Or you might just say to yourself, hey, I want to go really all the way. I think it'll go much further to the south. My thought really is that this chart is trying to hold a floor. And so look at how many days we've tried to hold this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. And momentum is starting to lift just a little bit. And so if we think about it like that and we go, all right, well, what are they trying to force their way through? This candlestick right over here is the largest 4-hour candlestick over the near term. And you can see that they are really trying to hold this edge. For me, I think if we trade inside of here, it's a little bit of a crapshoot if we're looking for a longer term formation. If we're thinking about, all right, what might we be staring down? It's got some good vol. And so you easily could trade the 145, 135, 60, 65 iron condor, and it'll give you the minimum for a $5 spread is $1. And so it could give you that and at least position in that space. The trades that are directional at this point, I believe, are a crapshoot. They're just me.
Okay.
All right, CRCL. Okay, so this one, let's take a look at what the chains are saying. Twice as many calls as puts sitting in the space. And so, we can just think about that. What you can see the traders are trying to do is get above this moving average. And this is the 200 on the 4-hour. They jammed right up into it. That's a resistance zone. And now they're sitting underneath the framework of this formation. Now, could it be a flag pattern? Take a look. We had a flag here. It broke down. We have a flag here. It could easily break down, especially if the market has some sort of drift associated with it in the near term. Truthfully, I have no idea what this Circle Internet group does, so I don't have a feel for what the formation actually is telling me about price action, but This morning, there are a fair bit of sellers sitting at the top of the range. My thought is that it should come back into 124 and then try to lift again. So the question is, do you want to trade it to 124 very quickly and then try to see if it breaks this 200 and moves to the north? Or do you want to wait for this 124 area and then position to the long side? We do have that nasty pervasive bid sitting in the market. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want to take a quick strike move that moves down, let's say you want it to go to, let's say you just choose the 26th of September, because that really is where the weakness is likely to occur. If it does occur, you still have, 190. You could, because it does have a fair bit of volume, you could trade, if you're thinking about the pullback, you could trade a 1 by 3 by 2, but it only saves 40 cents if you want to have no risk, right? If you want to have risk and you're trading the same width, then you do 130, 120, 110. It's 41 cents, but it's going to require $1,000 of margin. Seems to me, I like the leverage event here, as long as you're watching it and it doesn't fall off a cliff. I like this very cheap debit. If you're thinking, hey, this chart is going to roll over. If it doesn't roll over, you're just out a couple of pennies. If it does roll over and it hits that 120 region, you're going to have yourself a ton of cash, and it's moving to a credit. You might even be able to get it for debit of a penny. I know some platforms like to game things like this, and they won't let you get in for credit, and you'll have to pay that penny. But a penny for $1,000 move.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty good risk to reward there. I don't know how upset I'd be about that. Really quickly here, Circle is the issuer of stablecoin, USDC. That's what Circle does. So they're highly tied into the crypto market
space. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right. The next one I have on the list is United Healthcare. 13 and I think the same thing about this. We've been talking about the price action moving down, and this morning really came off of 350 and now is at 338, trying to bounce off of this zone. The big volume area, it's sitting in this big messy patch. The big volume area is this candlestick that it fought to hold yesterday and this morning, and now it's collapsing. So heading to 327 to 320. I don't think that that's unreasonable at all. I believe that this is truly, I didn't even know what to make of this one when it came, because I do think this chart ought to fall back into the 300s. But statistically speaking, it's got itself a little bit of fight sitting right around this zone between 350 to 340 to 330, essentially. So if you're thinking, hey, I think it comes into maybe 335, 330, you can't, if you're thinking about this chart recovering over the long haul, this is a great positioning formation, very cheap, $3,000 of upside pressure events for $150 of exposure. You hold it on until 2027, or it starts giving you multiples of 4x, 5x, 10x. This is literally a 20x, maybe a 15x potential move. And so it's got a ton of upside if United Healthcare comes through the noisy patches that it's got over the next few quarters. Now, if we're thinking about that fade in the near term, we could use something super simple and cheap, right? If we say, hey, I think it's going to come into 335 and then maybe stabilize at 325 and then 315. It's $1.44 for an upside, for the return. It's got $1,000 opening at $145. The volatility is very, very high, and that's why these options are still pretty pricey. But if you move it down a little, you can see that it starts getting much cheaper into the October space where it could take flight again, right? So that's essentially my thought on United Healthcare.
I actually really like that long-term butterfly.
Oh yeah,
To be quite
it's
honest
beautiful.
with you,
Yeah,
because I do think eventually. See, that's my problem. I do think eventually this trades back up, and I do think it eventually fills that gap, but I can't tell you when that's going to be. And there might be a down move in front of that. So I like that though.
Yeah. And so you put it on. This is a trade where you let your money work for you.
Mm-hmm.
You anticipate that, hey, listen, Buffett's got a big position in here. He's probably going to have a voice somewhere in there to how they get better, what they do. And so long-term markets do tend to trend upwards. And so I like it. It's very cheap for a very nice upside pressure event potentially on the horizon.
Okay.
The next one I want to look at is CoreWeave.
Perfect. This is what Yassine has been waiting for.
So here's what we're staring down.
Really quickly, Anne-Marie, we got a short report on this.
Oh.
So just FYI, let me get the stats, and I believe that was Kerrisdale. I can give you some of that here. CoreWeave here. So real quickly, just to kind of recap this for you, Kerrisdale Capital has revealed a short position against CoreWeave, labeling the AI infrastructure firm a, quote, debt-fueled GPU rental business with no moat, end quote, and setting a price target that implies 90% downside.
Wow. Okay, so of course we know shorting is very hard to do in the markets these days. But here's the very interesting thing about this position. I also believe this has got a tremendous amount of downside sitting on the horizon. It's come back. If we stare it down and we look at the formation itself, you can see, and man, do I wish I could draw trend lines like 13. Holy smokes, that guy's a beast.
He just sees them. And they like come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, that is a special skill. As someone who has consistently tried to draw them well, I can tell you it's a special skill. So that being said, here was the high from the 10th of September, and every bounce up has faded. The bounce up here, 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 faded. And so easily over the coming months, this one could head all the way back down 90 and then potentially below. I also like it because I see rotation out of tech spaces as they're getting overheated and people are taking profits. So the question is, what kind of position might we put on? If we're thinking to ourselves, hey, this is going to move fast in the next few days, you could easily take it to Friday's expiration. It's got a $500 spread for you know, you could probably get it for this 39 cents right here, right? If, however, you're looking at it and you're going, all right, let's take a peek, see what goes on here. Let's say that this thing actually gets back to 80. If it goes from 80 by October to 70 to 60, that's only 6 cents. And so obviously the vol is pretty wide, but interestingly enough, you know, it's got $25 sitting on the edge of it, and that brings us to $85. And so this could easily expand dramatically. And so this is the ideal lottery ticket event. It's just a great big lottery ticket event. And if you're into it, have at it. If you're thinking, hey, instead of the October 80, 70, 60, why don't I maybe take a longer term formation? We are scheduled to make a turn downward, statistically speaking, into the new year. And so you might look at the 70, 60, 50, and that's 60 cents. And so
it gives you a lot more time.
Yes, a lot more time for the price action to degrade. And, you know, it's not like people aren't thinking about that. Look at, there are thousands of contracts all the way here, right? Thousands of them. And so I like it. I mean, I think it's got good time. And, you know, I do think that there's something a little squirrely about the accounting principles in this particular instrument, right?
Okay.
And I would not be surprised to see that.
Okay, great.
And it's 11:30. Look at that.
It is. You ended it right on the head. I almost don't even think I should tell you this, but I will just for completeness here. There is no Paul Meeks today. So it actually didn't matter what time we ended today. But nonetheless, Anne-Marie, you get an A+ for literally ending it on the spot. Also, I slacked you that Benzinga link to the CoreWeave story, which also includes a link to the short report if you want to review that. I threw that in the chat for everyone else as well. Anne-Marie, you're an absolute gem. We appreciate you as always. Look forward to having a full week with you here. We're going to see you again on Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the meantime, keep printing. Keep joining our chat. Keep smashing that like button. We'll see you on Friday. Have a good rest of your day, okay? That is Anne-Marie, folks. Really good stuff from her again. I think we hit everything on that list that you folks wanted to see, at least for the most part there. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. I'll see you on Hump Day if I don't see you in the happy hour. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you.